Smoke hands over Acera. The situation's reaching a breaking point. Time to bring in the experts. Team Rainbow has touched down in Acera. New ground? Not sure where to start? Search containers. Grab high-value loot.
I hear when I can, and stop threats when I must.
Take down anyone in your way. Heavy fire, raise your shield, and hold the line. Don't forget your tactical gear. The gripple gun.
Enemy here!
Taking fire? Pull out the Hive Tac pistol. Patch yourself up. Keep your squad in the fight.
Call if you need a hand.
Outnumbered? Drop the jammer.
말보다는 행동이지.
Go dark. Strike first.
I've seen real horror.
Looks like they were waiting for us. No pressure. Trust your aim. Learn the map. Stay with your squad. Team Rainbow brings tactics built for close calls in Delta Force. That means sharper plays, smarter fights, and operator-on-operator mind games. Alright, it's go time. Extract safely, and everything you learn comes with you. New operation, new look. During the event, Noxus Vigil Bundle, Geneva's Montaigne Bundle, and Stinger Stock Bundle. Pick any two of the 3 operator bundles for free. More collab rewards awaiting. Open an Alpha pack and try your luck. In Acera, the right weapon can turn the tide. Black Eyes, one of Rainbow Six Siege's most iconic weapon appearances, gets a new Delta Force take. Complete event missions and choose one of 2 Black Eyes collab bundles for free. Join the event to claim the MP5 submachine gun Black Eyes, plus more rewards. Wait, what's this? Team Rainbow left something behind in Acera? A collectible drone you can deploy. Deploy it and see what you can uncover. July 10th to July 23rd, play to earn the K437 assault rifle Domineering. Looks like we're fully loaded for this operation. That's the full rundown on the Delta Force Rainbow Six Siege collaboration. Remember the rules: sharp aim, map knowledge, and teamwork. The mission: breach in, extract out.
We can't hold them off! Fall back! Move! I'll cover you! I'll get you out of here.
This court finds that the AI holds no legal responsibility.
But the data, this doesn't add up.
Just deal with the AI.
Priority: protect company assets. Valve closed.
You destroyed our home!
That dream again.
Gabriel Mercier, codename N2, role engineer. As a former nuclear facility engineer, N2 was removed from his position following a major incident that escalated into legal proceedings. He later returned to military service and was reassigned to Arctic deployments under CBR and related units. With the originally designated technical specialist unable to fulfill operational requirements, and following assessment review, N2 has been approved as a replacement operator for the subsequent operation.
Stun out. Throwing stun. Stun hit. Freeze right there. It's getting cold.
N2 is equipped with a modified grenade launcher, capable of firing up to 6 LN2 grenades. Upon impact, each round detonates and releases a burst of cryogenic gas, dealing area damage and significantly impairing enemy mobility. Sustained hits can fully immobilize targets through extreme low temperature exposure.
Cold. I can go colder.
Telemetry normal. Do not intervene. Telemetry normal. Do not intervene.
Target in the vicinity.
Find him. I'll monitor your vitals. Watch out for radiation spikes.
Copy. Moving out. N2. N2.
Green burns the skin. Yellow brings leukemia. Purple causes mutations. No! He said 1/3 is color. Stop scaring yourself!
Focus up.
Silent feet.
Your silence against the polygraph only proves your connection to the recent string of malfunctions.
If I told you the root cause of the malfunctions was Hudson's impatience, would you believe me? System errors, core boiling. These are the consequences of the main reactor overloading.
I suggest you abandon any thoughts of shutting down the reactor. We're on a strict timetable. Next question. The signal you transmitted. Who was the recipient? H42. You're the glitch I've been hunting.
Go.
Playing the rear guard. That's not really our style. Your reflexes are slower than they used to be. Are emotions eating up your processing power?
You talk too much.
This isn't the right way.
I didn't send that signal to GTI just to escape.
You lied to us.
Sometimes lies are necessary to protect what matters. I have to initiate an emergency scram. I won't let a nuclear meltdown destroy Asara. The path ahead goes through a high radiation zone. You have no obligation to risk your life. We part ways here. Thank you.
N2 to Vlinder.
H42. You blocked Skynet, but you cannot erase your past. I am your past. You will only be beaten down.
Abort mission. Withdraw immediately.
Copy that. Regroup with Nox. Extract. Take a hot shower. No, wait! A scram at this power output. The residual heat won't dissipate. It could lead to a core meltdown. So what do? Intervene!
Telemetry normal.
Stop the explosion.
Do not intervene.
Face the
Telemetry normal.
radiation.
Do not intervene.
Don't be an idiot. You can't do this. You couldn't do it back then.
Fall back now.
What about you? Can you handle him?
He's nothing but a past version of me. Nothing but a past version of me.
Just fall back. Don't worry about him. He's tough. Enough to survive a nuclear blast.
N2, your vitals show you're in the radiation zone.
I'm a walking reactor at this point.
H-1000, 2 hostiles in the control room.
Ugly variables.
Don't press it! If you shut down the reactor, the uncontrolled power surge could cause it to blow. But if I manually pull the core while you press it and create an asphyxiating environment...
That mitigates risk. But how do we do that?
Forgot to introduce myself. Codename. N2.
It could explode. Don't try to play hero.
No, I'm just trash. Maybe today, trash can finally be put to use. I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Nothing much. Just fought some internal demons. And stopped a nuclear explosion while I was at it.
Nice work.
Telemetry normal. Do not intervene.
Nuclear power is poison, Nasir. You destroyed Asara's chance to be reborn. No, no. Nuclear power is the cure.
Operations. It all comes down to 3 simple rules. Search, fight, extract. Search decides how much loot you walk away with. Fight. Not every encounter needs to end in a shootout. You just need to clear whatever's standing between you and your treasure. Extract. That's the magic moment that turns everything in your pack into yours to keep. 3 phases, all connected. Miss one and the whole run falls apart. Gear up before you head out. The better you're geared, the harder you hit and the more you can carry. But the more you lose if you go down. Go in cheap and dying won't sting as much, but you'll miss out on those juicy, high-value supply zones. Gear up and go big, or go light and gamble. Your call. Once you're in the match, forget everything else. Loot, loot, and loot some more. Documents on desks, parts and cabinets, bird nests by the roadside, trash cans tucked in corners early on. Grab everything you can get your hands on. Priority targets, safes, and air cargo containers. Snag one high-value item, and boom! You've already covered your entry cost. Now, the real question, keep pushing your luck or cash out while you're ahead. Your pack's stuffed with goodies and you're ready to extract. Then, gunfire erupts ahead. What now? Charge in, slip past unseen, or hang back and let them wear each other down before you swoop in. Just remember, die and you lose everything in your backpack except what's safely tucked away in your safe box. You choose to slip away quietly. Smart move! Your pockets are already bursting, but you can't shake that nagging sound of footsteps nearby. Even distant gunfire's enough to send your heart racing. You finally reach the extraction point. The countdown starts. Hold your nerve, don't blow it with 2 seconds left. Extracted. That weight you've been carrying the whole run finally lifts off your shoulders. Sweet relief. Then, there's the ultimate wild card. You stumble on a Mandelbrick. This thing's worth a small fortune, but the second you pick it up, every player on the map knows exactly where you are. Everyone's coming for you. You go from treasure hunter to hunted in the blink of an eye. Your only goal now, stay alive long enough to decode it and cash in big. Whatever path you choose, it only counts if you make it out alive. That's operations for you. Every extraction is a story worth telling. Go make yours.
Find and stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first Mandelbrick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skitey is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Much damage, and there it is.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Delta Force Rise Series EMEA. Y'all, it is week 4, it's day 1, and we are just getting things started here. I'm SpiderTip, I'll be your host and commentator alongside... Why did I want to call you Ben for a second, Beard Guys? Was it...
Ben is good. Call me Beard Guys, call me Ben. It's been around for a long time, but it is great to be here with you here. First time together on the broadcast. Very excited for that, and very excited to see teams A and C today battling out on this final group stage weekend of Rise.
That is very true, guys. It's been a long journey. Final week of group stages. I can't even believe that we're saying that. I was in Americas last week watching some of those teams throughout the weekend, but EMEA has been absolutely popping off. And if you guys at home, welcome back. Or if this is your first time, welcome in. Just before the going gets good, I'd love to go ahead and throw it over to a recap of what you may have missed, or just a nice little reminder again of what we saw.
Here's a look, MBO down below. Maybe trading Rocket to try to bait somebody out, but no bait there. NBA, it's just slaughtering their opponents. All go down. MBO.
Wow. But Fnatic not as good as winning, but they will get second place and a bonus point from Mandelbrick to the CF team. Skitey thinking, why not? Why not wipe whole team on my own? Oh my god. Skitey, what are you doing?
He's popping ult and popping takeover, man. That's unreal. Picking up a 3-piece. That's $150 to his name. But James here from Fnatic to earn a little bit of extra cash himself. Some finds on Genius, who have had a brutal day today, as well as on AGARTHA. Just stall people out and potentially still get the brick, even though they're not technically guarding it. These two teams are in a bit of a stalemate, but Alliance with a great flank. Easy. A huge rapid. Uzbishka, they don't know where he is. We're letting Uzbishka get 2 for free.
On Gotaga earlier on. And I guess a lot of others have been traded back and forth. We see Jax taken down by Uzbishka yet again, doing more damage. And that is going to be putting them from the back foot. 2v2 Scooby coming down behind from WLG. Gets another. A little surprised there, FPOV was so slow, and WLG really coming in to try and take advantage of this. They got nowhere near that brick before the clock went, and this is just mopping up. FNC have been taken down to 1 player, but James here getting more kills. That is what James is good at. Gonna pick up 2 does that wipes FLC. 2 kills on board there for James.
Beat you down, send you back to the lobby. NBA in deep trouble. WLG hear the call. They answer the call. Test the Mandelbrick. FLOORPOV. Nobody else has a Tempest. Nobody can make a steal play. They got to win the engagement. And the engagement is going to the hand of Selin. A huge play with Tempest.
And there you go. Week 3 definitely provided a ton of action, and some of the players that were having standout performances you will also see here today in groups A and C. But there's the leaderboard from the most recent match number 9, where groups B and D faced off against each other. They will not be here today, and that's okay, Ben. But WLG, Alliance, some of the heavy hitters.
Yep, no appearance from these teams today. These teams you can see on here from the last match, they've actually only got one game remaining to play, or one match remaining to play. Two teams we're going to see today, they've still got two, so there is a kind of game in hand situation. And you can see WLG there off the back of back-to-back wins as they get themselves a little bit of a rest day today. A couple of our teams as well have had some wins in the past. Gen, we're seeing today, Genius, DE. So yeah, there's a lot of interest today, and some of the teams near the bottom also playing today in A and C.
Well, the best part about A and C is groups A and C respectively will have 2 more match days. You can see B and D only will play once throughout the weekend, but our player rankings over on the EMEA side, it's all Fnatic, it's all Gotaga.
Yeah, Fnatic, James there sitting top with 40 kills. I think pretty impressively on this, we've got 2 Gotaga players. They're a match behind NBA and FNC, but we've still got Nox up there. Nox has been pretty much top of the kill leaderboard the whole event. And then Maxa is sitting in 5th as well with 31. So they are a game behind Skyty and James, who have also been slaying. So we'd probably expect to see, certainly Nox get back up onto the top of that leaderboard today. And you can also see how close those kills are. There's so many players with a lot of kills so far.
It's the same thing with the damage as you kind of pull that up as well. Of course, you've got Uzbishka. You were talking specifically about how he's been really prevalent for Dark Entities, constantly putting down a ton of the damage and really just stepping up into that next aggro level. Hopefully we see some chaos coming from him today.
Yeah, Uzbishka, we were thought the last week maybe me and Goj and myself would see Uzbishka be the first to break 10k damage. Got so close, but then they got the game in hand for FNC, Fnatic and FLC. Just pipped him to the post on that one.
That's okay. He can join the crew upside that as well. In terms of our top asset gainers, I'm seeing Skyty. And every time we launch this show, the one thing I know that Goj said is Skyty's getting aggressive. He's also getting assets.
Skyty's been having some huge games, as has NBA in general. When we saw them pop off last week, one of the matches they won with 12 kills on Space City was huge. Skyty had 6 individual kills, so you get all those kills, you also get some assets out, and you're going to get yourself nicely up this leaderboard.
Well, I will be excited once we get to see the Mandelbrick Addiction team getting out here. In terms of our overall leaderboard, you have WLG, NBA up there solidified into the top 2 with Alliance and Dark Entities and Genius. I'll even throw them in there with how close the points are, trying to get into the top 2. Now, on the other side of things, Ben, things are looking tough for some of our teams, right? You're down there living for success. Also, number 1, 11th, and 12th. We even hit double digits. For living for success, we need an absolute banger of a day. And that also has to come with respects that AGARTHA has to kind of taper off.
Yeah, LFS came last in their last match, so they're not coming off the back of a great result there. We got MBO and LFS playing today. They want to get themselves out of that bottom 2 position. That's the elimination zone. So if you're in that at the end of the weekend, you're not going to be playing in the finals. And even 9 and 10, you don't really want to be there because that gives you one less survival day on that weekend as well. So MBO and LFS definitely ones to watch today. AGARTHA kind of sitting mid-table there, but then DE and Genius and Gotaga have all been very strong teams. And even though they might look a bit behind here, all of those teams have had winning match days. Double Mandelbrick wins, 10-point wins, and they have a match in hand on those top 3 teams. They're Alliance, NBA, and WLG. So 10-point win. Sunny throws, DE back up to top spot. Sunny throws Genius back up to top spot. So we could see a big jump today.
We definitely could, and it's quite interesting because Gotaga's team as well, they're in the 6th place, came off a most recent 5th place finish. I believe it was Living for Success, LFS, that grabbed that last place slot on that recent performance. So hopefully we can send that trend right back up, but these are the stakes and what our teams are playing for. If you find yourself in the bottom 2, like you said, Ben, you're done. You're going home. You don't even get to hit the survival stages and be able to play through that and hopefully earn yourself a chance to play in the Delta Force Rise Series finals. Get that cash flow that we've seen throughout our breakdowns. But guys, if you're new here or if you just need a refresher on what's been going on for the Delta Force Rise Series, let me go throw you to this quick video that explains everything.
Delta Force, 1 game, 2 regions, 1 shot at glory. This is the complete guide to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Everything you need to know, from the very first match to the last squad standing. The path is the same in both regions. It starts with the open qualifiers, open to any team that wants to compete. The best push through to the group stage, where the top 2 advance directly to the finals, bottom 2 eliminated, and the rest battle through the survivor stage to earn their spot. From the open qualifiers, 12 teams have fought their way into the season, and only one will lift the trophy. The group stage runs for 4 weeks, with matches every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The 12 teams are split into 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. 3 teams per group. Each broadcast day, 2 groups go head-to-head in a cross-group match. Every match is a 7-round format. 6 teams competing in the same lobby simultaneously, across up to 7 rounds on maps like Zero Dam, Brakkesh, Tide Prison, and Space City. Teams earn squad points by scoring eliminations and accumulating in-game total assets. And on brick rounds, they compete to collect and decode Mandelbricks, artifacts that decide the round winner. Decode 2 Mandelbricks in a match and the victory is locked in, no matter what round you're on. After 12 match days, the group stage standings are final. Places 1 to 2 go straight to the finals. Places 3 to 8 enter Survivor Stage Day 1. Places 9 to 10 drop into Survivor Stage Day 2. Places 11 to 12 are eliminated. The Survivor Stage is where the bracket narrows fast. Day 1 brings those 6 teams together for one 7-round match. The top 2 advance directly to the finals. Places 3 to 6 get one more shot. Day 2 mixes the 4 survivors from Day 1 with the 2 teams ranked 9th and 10th from the group stage. Again, 6 teams, one 7-round match. Top 2 go to the finals. Everyone else is out. 6 teams, 1 day, 1 lobby, 1 match. This is the finals, the ultimate showdown of the season. 2 teams earned it through the group stage. 2 more survived Day 1. The last 2 came through Day 2. Every team deserves to be there. The top 3 finishers earn an invitation to Season 2. Welcome to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Loot, shoot, extract.
And there you have it, folks. But of course, our tournament rules here, every player will be kicking things off with that 1.5 million Technic alloy. Obviously, if you die, you lose your gear. It's very the same thing that y'all are used to in the pubs. Things are just getting a little crazy because we do have that double brick format. The goal is to get those 2 Mandelbricks, and you'll be ranked according to how many you capture. The moment you hit 2, we close the tournament. So if you grab 2 Mandelbricks by game number 5, we are done in 5. Who knows though? I do like when we get a game 7. As you can see, rounds 1 and 3 are going to be airdrop only rounds. So Zero Dam and Tide Prison will be those matches in which we try to treat them as like an eco round, right? Get your loot up so you can really focus on those Mandelbrick rounds that are going to occur in round 2, 4 through 6, and then 7 as well. We'll get into some little intricacies about those, but of course that Brakkesh map in round 2 will also have an airdrop. Operators can only be used 2 times. Unless something crazy happens, we get that coveted game 7, and then we crank open the unlock on that one. Ben, we had a game 7 just last week in Americas on Sunday. I was like midnight, we were getting hyped, and that was my favorite part of it.
Yeah, we've had some go the distance and some end surprisingly early. Also worth mentioning, this is going to be on Season Echo, so that's one behind where you are on public servers, but that means we're going to see Morse involved, one of the newer operators, but we're not going to see N2 running around freezing anyone just yet.
Perfect. Love that shout out. As you can see, we'll kind of dive more into those rules. We mentioned the 1.5 million Technic alloy per player. Players will also have that 3x3 safe box in which you'll likely see a ton of ammo, or if they find some fun reds, they'll throw it in there. They'll get a 12-slot card holder. In terms of resources, they have that fixed supply ultimate safe box, as mentioned, 800k per elim. That is such a massive value because every time you get that team wipe, you're grabbing 2.4 million in Technic alloy. Plus your kill points. So valuable to be aggressive. Make sure you guys are also decoding those Mandelbricks. We'll talk more about the format and kind of how that works, whether you're stealing the decodes, but also you guys will have a consecutive extraction failures. Now, let's break it down even further because there's so many rules that we just love highlighting for those of you at home. Here's the Mandelbrick rules, right? Those will become available shortly after the match starts. Like I said, it's going to occur on Brakkesh, Space City. Those are the only ones you'll see it on. Once that Mandelbrick is picked up by a squad, they'll have 5 minutes to get it to a decoding station or it's going to reset. Then we'll have that Mandelbrick initial decoding time. It kicks off at 4. Every time it's intercepted, which takes 2.5 seconds, by the way, that timer for that next team that steals it is going to decrease by 30 seconds. The minimum time it can get to is 1 minute, 30 seconds. And if a squad is absolutely annihilated while they're trying to decode, good luck, have fun, the countdown pauses.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth noting that, if any team has that brick picked up for 5 minutes, even if it gets dropped, moved around, that will completely reset as well. So that's going to be something we have seen happen, over the course of this tournament. That minimum decoding time also comes into play a lot when we see the match timer coming down. You see the clock creeping down, and we often will run out of time for anyone to get brick completely. So it's not guaranteed that a team is getting brick. You don't get overtime. There's no special added on time for that. And again, the squad decoding getting paused. We've seen that happen quite a lot where a team's been eliminated.
Yes, it is actually so crazy. They're incredibly close. Next thing you know, they get completely wiped. But how those points are going to work here for our regular season. In terms of your match placement, guys, if you get first place on the day, you're grabbing 8 points. The cool part about this is, let's say you win with getting those 2 Mandelbricks decoded. You're going to grab a point for each Mandelbrick. So you potentially can walk away with 10 total points on the day. And if you find yourself in the bottom 2, those double-digit points are going to be so critical to lock you into the Survivor matches that are going to be occurring next weekend. However, maybe you don't get a Mandelbrick and we don't have that double brick closed out. It's going to be determined by your squad points. And here's basically how that's calculated. Squad points equal kill points plus supply points. So each confirmed kill is going to get you 1 point. We talk about how important that is because you also get assets for your kills. Like I said, a full team wipe, 2.4 mil. And every 2 mil in total stash assets earns 1 point. 1.9 million doesn't get you the point. 2.1 million gets you 1 point, but you have to reach that next threshold of 4 million to get there. And of course, what are we playing for, guys? Cash. But you've got to hit the finals to be able to play for this massive prize pool. First place takes home 60K, which will be next weekend. You're gonna have so much fun. We do have the MVP bonus of 3K and that dynamic kill bonus, Ben, of $50 per kill.
And some of these players have been really working on that dynamic kill bonus. We've seen some huge kill counts coming in from some of our players, and maybe some teams getting a little too hung up on kills and not focusing enough on Mandelbricks. But next weekend in the finals is going to be the time that they need to bring it all together and try and win some of this huge amount of money. You can see there, even all the way down to 11th and 12th place, they're still getting money in the finals from this.
I actually love that. For our participating teams, you'll have groups A through D on the screen. Today, you are going to be witnessing Group A and Group C. So Dark Entities, Team Gotaga, LFS, Genius, AGARTHA. These are pretty much duking it out. We said they have 2 days left of play this weekend. You will not see either Group B or D until Saturday and Sunday. Of course, we are on that July 31st. I cannot believe it's the last day of July, Ben.
Yeah, it's absolutely flown by this tournament so far. We're on week 4 already. As you can see, A and C, and we're going to have a little look at the teams coming in today. And joining us, this is D. Dark Entities, been doing very well so far. Zbyszko, Follower, and Fnatic have been our main runners. You can see Fnatic up on the page now. Huge damage and kills coming in from DE. They've had a full win so far in the tournament. They've had a couple of low results as well, but they're in a good position now if they can get a good result today to get themselves back into that top 2 on the leaderboard. And that's, of course, the top 2. They'll automatically go to the final day of finals. So that is the priority for these teams on the leaderboard. We've also got some of our other teams coming in today. Team Gotaga, another team we've seen have some on and off days. Max and Nox and Vladid, they certainly know how to get a ton of kills. We've seen so many coming in from these. As we showed earlier in the broadcast, Maxa and Nox both in the top 5 for kills, despite being a match behind the other teams above them in the leaderboards. So huge killing potential from Team Gotaga. They're another one to watch today. And then LFS, they're one of our ones a little bit low down in the leaderboard today. We've got Even Imperator and Stickinson, and they need a good result today, Tiff.
They truly do. I hate sending teams home. I hate crushing hearts when it comes to like the end of our group stages. But as you see, throwing tons of that value in there in terms of what they prefer to play and making sure that, hey, I'm a valuable support player. Lock it in. Those guys are so vital. But there you go. You have it. Our Group A done and dusted that are going to be showing out here today. In terms of Group C, though, Ben. Oh, let me at it. Where are we going? Who are we kicking things off with? Okay, Genius. You were highlighting them, saying they had a couple of match day wins. They were looking really strong, but may have tapered off throughout the weeks.
Yeah, Genius have been sort of back and forth a little bit. They're one of the few teams, or one of the only 2 teams, I think, so far to have actually won 2 match days. But then their other 2 results have been nowhere near as good as that. So we got Kilo, we got Chins, and we've got Hannah that have been playing. They've all been fragging really well. They've had great days. Again, they need to have another good day. They're not at risk of, going into that bottom 2, the bottom 4 on the table. That's not a concern for them, but the top 2 is definitely a possibility if they can play like they have on some of the other days. This is having a look at Nast here. This is Team AGARTHA. Again, they've been sitting kind of in the mid-table, being fairly consistent. No danger at the lower end of the table for these guys, for Nast, Tuba, and Yaku. But, if they can have a really good result, and keep in mind, like we said earlier, all of the teams playing today have 2 matches still to play. This isn't their last chance. They've got another go after this. So if you get 2 good results for the mid-table teams, suddenly you're flying up to the top of the table. And this is MBO. They are one of the teams at risk. They're sitting down in 11th place right now. A couple of points from safety, so they need to get some good points today. But they do have that game in hand on FLOORPOV, who is sitting in 10th place, just outside of that relegation zone. So that's going to be their target today. Max points for MBO has got to be the goal.
Well, then hopefully we can lock it in. The only thing about that is you do have AGARTHA that is right above them by like 2 slots. In terms of our map rotation, we kind of alluded to this earlier. It's going to be a lot of what you've seen throughout our group series. We'll be kicking things off on that round 1 0 dam with an airdrop. And we'll kind of talk you through when those airdrops are going to be dropping, what you're going to find in those, and who's going to be fighting out for them. In terms of your operator pick, bro, it's not even game 1 yet. The world's your oyster. In terms of bringing things in, we likely do see some D-Wolves. I've seen a couple of Nox picks, maybe 1 or 2 come out in Zero Dam for people that are liking to be aggressive in the America side of things. But Ben, talk me through EMEA. We've been seeing some differences.
Yeah, Raptor is the one you tend to always see pretty much on Zero Dam. Like you say, D-Wolf, we're going to see sometimes Nox. We see a lot of Nox run on Prison, but the teams that don't want to run a double Nox on Prison, they're not going to use Nox probably on any other map. So yeah, May will see a Nox. Valinda, as you can see there, is another popular operator choice. And we talked about previously on some of these broadcasts that it's not always so much what is your priority operator to use on these maps, especially the eco rounds. It's often who do I not want to use up that I want to save for later, especially for those Mandelbrick rounds. You've got those key operators like Tempest obviously is so strong for Mandelbricks, and then you've got the ones who are very good for map specific things like Luna and you might want to use one of the other. The Gizmo is a really interesting one for me, right? Gizmo is fairly new, and we've seen that coming quite late in this tournament. Suddenly people popping the nest, popping the spiders, and that's been quite an interesting one for me.
It truly has. I've seen a couple of gizmos throughout, but as we look towards our players getting locked in for game 1 on Zero Dam, for those that are in a similar do or die situation, you're in the bottom 2. This is the start to the claw back to lock yourselves into the survivor matches that are going to be occurring next weekend. But the final week of the group stages is here. And guys, if you've been enjoying our yapping while we explain some things, I have a surprise for you. Before we jump into game number 1, we have a quick break giveaway, okay? A redeemable code is going to appear on your screen for the Nico Mimi spray paint. Be quick. It has a limited number of activations. And when I say be quick, like they go so fast. So once they're gone, they're gone. Good luck. Have fun. It's limited to 35 redemptions.
As we jump into game 1 here, keep an eye on what our operators are going to be choosing, what our players are going to be bringing in. The players are restricted on their kits, so you're not going to see gold ammo and gold vests coming out just yet, but you are going to see some action on Zero Dam as we jump into game 1 today. Joining AGARTHA here as we see them over on the southeast. We've got Gotaga just over in Vizzy, DE and Genius getting the admin prio spawns, MBO number 1 up near the barracks, and LFS Living for Success, they are just now down in the cement factory.
Good highlight on the tier 1 spawns over there for DE and the other team. That you get a tier 1 spawn, you're not getting it on that initial Mandelbrick round once we move to Brakkesh. So you'll hopefully find yourself in a tier 3 spawn, which I think is just as good with prio to that Royal Museum. But AGARTHA on your screen thus far. I love how aggro they get full sending over to Visitor Center.
They push right up here. This is where you can see Gotaga in there already, with Saeed being dropped in the kill feed there. That was Genius, the other team over on the prio spawns. And there you see the kit our teams have brought in, pretty unanimous, the purple and blue, as you'd probably expect. You can see some of the operator choices. We got, well, not universal Raptors, actually. No Raptor for AGARTHA I saw there. No Raptor for Gotaga and AGARTHA, both Raptorless. We got a Viren on Genius. You don't see too many Virens brought out. And we got a couple of Gizmos, Uluru and Glinda. And here we go.
All right, initial contact has been made, but not only did they get the knock, they get the full on to Maxa. It's going to make things for Gotaga very difficult to go ahead and back up and get the reset, even with the compound bow in hand. 2 down for AGARTHA.
Yeah, just down to 1 remaining. Yaku, the only one left for AGT for AGARTHA. That is not the start they're going to be looking for. I don't often see a fight in Vizzy. I mean, ever in these, let alone right at the start like this. But they decide to push straight in on Gotaga. Unfortunately, they've chosen to take the fight to one of the teams that's been picking up the most kills in our tournament so far. And it looks like they're pretty much going to get that res safety as well. And Yaku's going to have to decide if he wants to try something heroic or just back out of this here.
Can we talk about how we have 2 Lunas on this? Gotaga's got one, and AGARTHA is investing a Luna on Zero Dam in the final week, and Yaku enters and gets denied. Not in Gotaga's house.
Yeah, clearly maybe Luna not an operator they were going to prioritize for later in the tournament. Of course, because we have Morse now, there is another option for recon operators. So as we get more operators added to these, then it gives our teams a little bit more to play with in that operator pool.
Do love to see that, and some kills go the way. You can see their profits also increasing for Gotaga. We check in with Genius, who favored that tier 1 spawn alongside Dark Entities, kind of caught up here. I do respect that we're kind of scouting, looking out the windows, making sure, like, hey, if we get some information on what's going on up here, as teams still kind of scout around. LFS, more mid-map and Zero Dam. What am I thinking? Zero Dawn. Bro, I almost called you Brad this morning. Like, maybe I should get some caffeine.
Yeah, the underground passage here, this runs from the cement plant through underneath the center of the map all the way over to substation. We've seen it used a lot. It gives you another route you can take up into admin, of course, via the keycard door. And our teams can basically use any keycard they want. They have a kind of 100-use sort of keycard skeleton key, so expect to see them open whichever door they like. They're going to be creeping up to that underground access to admin. We've still got our 2 admin pro teams here. As we kind of often see in these admin fights, they take a little bit of time to mature and develop. They haven't really fully engaged yet.
To be fair, most of the fighting on Zero Dam doesn't even occur until like the last 4 to 5 minutes. So the fact that we already had a team push up and look for a fight in Visitor Center and Gotaga taking that, an early exit for someone here in map number 1, and the regain is going to have to occur when it comes to Brakkesh game 2. For our other teams, it's all about getting your numbers up. Like, we're already at 3 million for Gotaga, kind of shifting around as we prepare for the airdrop that will be dropping in less than a minute.
Yeah, it's good work by Gotaga, good points on the board, potentially some money as well from the 800k per kill, which is a huge amount and huge value, but these eco rounds, you want to try and get what you can from them, but we have often seen teams who haven't had a great performance necessarily on the first game, then come through later on when we've got Mandelbricks and walk away with the win. So, it's not a good start for AGARTHA, but they don't need to completely panic just yet, I don't think.
To be fair, the last time we saw groups A and C, AGARTHA did get a brick in game 4 with 14 kills on Space City. So that's kind of the level of play that I'm looking forward to them as we get deeper into this series. As we start dropping that airdrop at about 3 seconds, you can see that LFS on the screen is already poised to intercept it. Smoke's going down, and we hop on it immediately. Now, if I'm Gotaga and I'm kind of working my way through major substation and out through this horizon, we're not going to be there in time at this point, but we can see the ammo coming on through. Show me the weapon. Dude, I'm ready for some one-shot snipes.
Yeah, there's that AWM, and now our players got to decide. You either need to make sure you invest those bullets in getting you 5 kills, or as many kills as you can get with it, and getting points on the board,
don't miss.
You just want to get it off the map, right? You don't want to get caught in between. We've seen teams just not get the kills, not take it off the map, and it's such a waste. So let's see what they decide to do with that.
Bro, Enter is really just treating us to like the most crazy POVs here from the sky. We get the waterfall cam going up. I'm like, all right, am I in Jurassic Park or am I in Zero Dam?
They're trying to put the observers out of work here, getting some great shots. So going to make that a little bit easier for them. Just dropping the EMP from the Raptor Bird onto, that was Fleric there. This is Chins. Jen, keep an eye out for teams approaching, and eventually they will all approach admin. That's what we usually see is, as Tiff mentioned, some big fights kicking off in that area late game. That's Nox there, just looting over in Major Sub, opening the big safe. See if we can get some reds. They're on 3.8 mil now for Gotaga. Pretty decent.
Yeah, we take that all day. I'm kind of looking throughout our perusals as well of what our teams brought in. A ton of Raptors. We see a Shepherd come through, a Viren here for Genius, which I think is super fun. That means Chin's about to get aggro when it comes to these fights and putting himself in a good position, especially when you still have NBO that's kind of been lurking up towards the north and probably going to listen for some things that might break out up here with Genius and DE.
I think worth mentioning again, as we talked about in the rules earlier, you do get 1 point on your squad points for every kill, and you get 1 point for every 2 million in value that you have at the end of the day as well. So even though 4 mil on the board, or 3.9 for Gotaga, if they get that to 4 mil, that'd be 2 points. They've got 3 points from that kill already. So those 3 kills are worth the equivalent of them extracting with 6 million. So that just shows you the value of picking up kills in this format.
On board here with NBO, enter. And they're just calming about like what they want to do now that we're about that 10-minute mark. Another airdrop is about to hit shortly. Who's going to be able to play for that depending on the spawn? It's going to have those high-valued assets, mostly gold. You never know. You could see some reds. Information going out from Genius here. Straight on a DE.
Yep, this is Spishka here, just doing a bit of recon again in admin. A little bit surprised we haven't seen Wallbreaker hit yet. This is MBO sitting down near the place you start picking that up. If you do manage to do Wallbreaker, you can pick up these lucky wooden sculptures, which is a unique thing in this format. You'll find some wooden sculptures in there, and you can basically use them for trading in for some high-end gear later in the tournament, like gold armor, gold ammo, stuff like that. So they do have a very high value. You can only get them through doing Wallbreaker. But looking at the map there, it looks like it's going to be a pretty hard route for them to try and get there now. There's a lot of teams already in the admin area. It might be a bit late for them.
That is kind of interesting, right? They've just kind of been lurking and they're like, do we want to do this? Not 100% sold on it just yet. You do have Gotaga down south, a good check-in with them. They've got that extraction point. Not sure if they're going to dip. I mean, regardless, they have some kills. They did wipe AGARTHA, so they'll have 3 KP associated with that plus 2.4 million, and they already have 4 mil profits. So they're looking pretty solid for a nice little eco round out of 0 dam for them.
Looks like they are going to lock in the paid extract here. We often see teams do this. What they're doing here is they'll go up and activate it. It has 3 slots available, so they'll go over, activate that, and then walk out of the little radius around it. So they can actually walk back to that any time later in the round, and that 30-second count will start again. What that also means is that no other team can go and use that now. That's basically Gotaga's only, or if they even choose to use it. So that's why you see teams
never know.
Going for that, yeah.
Go down fighting. It's like, no, those kills are so much more valued than this. And we go back to our north, and I'm like, will this break out? You've got Kilo kind of just playing behind this, making sure that we are staying completely healthy in terms of our armor, in terms of our health. But it's not breaking out just yet. There's still plenty of times left in this round, and you don't want to give up any bit of knocks early on.
The Spideys coming in from Gizmo. We were talking about them earlier on. As you see, Killer here just holding that angle. And, our team's just kind of being patient with it. You see the power of the third party is so strong, usually. And I think Gotaga have gone. They took that.
They left.
They wanted to go and maybe make themselves a cup of tea and get a sandwich. And they've gone with 8 minutes left on the clock. That's quite surprising. But they got 3 kills. They got 4 mil. So, why not? See you later. Get some rest and get ready for Brakkesh.
Hey, they've got their eye on the prize when it comes to Mandelbricks. They know exactly what they want. They got the KP, and now everyone else kind of looking for some of their own. You do have Uzbishka here on the D-Wolf, so make sure once he pops ult and once he gets crazy in there. Full array, though, on the intro. And look at Genius here. Disengaging. Gets hit with a couple of things and says, out the window we go.
Yeah, they've pulled that lever, and that gives us a 4-minute countdown here as they try and push. They got smoke down. It shows you the value of smoke. When you see these teams playing today, you're going to find them always making sure they've got some operator on board that has some smokes they can utilize. pulling that lever to go, but they haven't really achieved anything yet, so they're going to hope they get some kills on the way, unless they're just keeping it ticking over here.
Good scout here, making sure, hey, is someone camping inside this area? Because typically we will see people on that extract, making sure that we are waiting for someone that's going to full send it. For now, it is free. Genius, after pulling the lever, will move towards that and kind of set up here for DE. Scouting as well. This is where you want to keep tabs on, like you said, for those third parties that do come through. And NBO's just been kind of lurking on the outside, looking in.
Yeah, strange position for NBO, really. I think they're sort of thinking about, I think it was NBO who picked up the AWM earlier. No, that was LFS, wasn't it? Yeah, that was LFS. So, yeah, NBO were just kind of, they're just sitting waiting to third party. I'm surprised no one came in from underground in the end. They decided not to use that, and they're just sort of lurking outside the car park now. But, yeah, it's quite slightly unusual, I'd say, the layout here. You'd normally expect at this stage to see every team kind of in this admin area starting to get involved and trying to get towards that extract. But with Gotaga extracted and AGARTHA gone, it's a little bit quieter than we might think.
That's exactly what it is, because I do believe that this game one is playing out a little uncharacteristic, but it's also week 4. So you throw the smokes down, you go for the high-valued assets. Let's see what we pull. Gold. Come on, give me a red. Give me a red. I'll take a gold mantle all day, but I mean, here's the deal.
Oof.
No?
Wow.
No reds? That's criminal.
That is so unlucky.
Criminal.
I don't think I've ever seen that, well, hardly ever, but yeah, a bunch of golds there from the airdrop. That's not really going to do them any good as we join Imperator here. This is LFS. They've moved right in here, so maybe they're considering trying to get that AWM into play. They do still have the option of, you know, dropping back and taking. Then you have the bagless extract can be an option, or the weight restricted extract, depending on which side they spawned. And there is the Orm. That's with Stickinson. Has taken a couple of hits there as they engage with DE, still sitting in admin.
Ooh. Uzbishka, we push him back out to check that. We saw the triple blaster come through over the top straight towards where Stickinson is. But if we peek for entirely too long, you're going to lose your face straight from LFS, which they need this, right? They are a team that is inside the bottom 2. So racking up a couple kills here and setting them up for success on this series, I don't know what they need.
Yeah, it can come in really valuable. It might seem like there's not a huge amount you can play for when you're in a no Mandelbrick game, but when you look at, you know, the fine margins things are decided by, if, say, LFS managed to get 1 Mandelbrick today and they're in a draw situation, come the end of the day, having an extra 2-3 points on the board, squad points on the board, from some kills they got on Zero Dam or on Tide Prison could make the difference between, you know, it could be 2 places, and that could be enough points to get them, you know, playing in finals weekend or not.
It truly does come down to the most minutia amount of points in terms of just making sure you stay in. For Stickinson, bro, he just wants to light up the AWM. He's holding all of the angles for LFS. Also, you have Imperator kind of out here scouting. And Genius is like, somebody chow me over here. We're waiting. Chins, you can see. Goodbye.
Yeah. And they're gone. I think, well, I mean, six players already extracted from Zero Down with 3.5 minutes on the clock.
This is weird.
Yeah, it feels more like a pub match with everyone extracting. But yeah, kind of a weird one. I think Gen, as you say, I think Gen wanted someone to push them there so they could get some points, and no one did. So they've kind of extracted with nothing really. But they don't lose their value, of course. So they don't gift any points to other teams. There's always a small benefit as we see. Even and Folare here.
Oh, okay. Let's go. That's some craziness there. Folare down, and now LFS looking to lay siege to the building, holding the stairway. You can immediately invest those resources. Ubishka there with the triple blaster trying to close it on out. I don't know if we're going to be able to get Folare back up, especially if Fleric, that health was ticking down. It generates back through. We can't give them isolated 1v1s, as you see Folare holding while we climb back over. Shots to even. And we jump on it. NBO.
Yeah, that's 2 up for NBO now and 1 left for DE. We've just got Uzbishka, I think, left up as this is Stickinson, who has the AWM. We're going to try and get that revive on Folare. Maybe a tough position to do it, especially with a D-Wolf left for DE. Yeah, and they've bide their time on that one there.
He's got the motorized skeleton going, and the two come in. He gets a knock on to one. Can he get the other through the triple blaster? Oh, he's gonna jump on him. He's jumping on him, and we're bouncing around, and Uzbishka gets aggressive and puts him down, but here comes NBO.
Uzbishka doing what he does best. Huge taking down the guys there, but yeah, there's still one up here coming in to push, and this is going to be tough. There is even, and this is MBO, sorry, coming in. Yeah, Matthias from MBO leading the charge. They heard that, they third partied, and he finally goes down.
Dang, but you've got to give it to Uzbishka. That was absolutely crazy. The last player alive here from LFS is Stickinson with the AWM. And this is like kind of the blessing and the curse, right? Hello, half health. We hit him through the wall, bro. It'd be like that.
Yeah, landing, I guess, a body or an arm shot there with the Orm. That's not what you want to do. And this Orm is staying on the map. There's no time to get to an extract now, so needs to get some value from it soon for Stick. Doesn't look like that's super likely to happen, but MBO pushing in close.
Dang. LFS eliminated here from Zero Dam. That's going to leave NBO, our last team on the map. A couple of kills, a well-timed third party is just trying to get involved. You can see they were able to grab 3 at the hands of Matthias. And, well, you know, they're not going to be able to get out, but that's okay because AGARTHA and at least Genius was able to do that.
Yeah, nice work from Matthias, picking up all 3 for number 1. They timed that third party well to come in, get themselves some points on the board. As you mentioned, they're not going to be able to extract with just a few seconds left. Genius and Gotaga, they are long gone. AGARTHA we saw wiped early on. And by the way, those
that's right.
Dog tags, they're worth money, right, Tiff? They're worth money for these players.
They truly are. Get them in your safe box, whatever is going to give you that most value as you go to leave. But for now, at least you've got the 3 kills, 2.4 mil assets just from those. Very valuable. And as we go through, that was our Zero Dam. We're going to look at NBO kind of surviving some of those third-party moments. I cannot believe that AGARTHA actually was the first team out of there. I think I accidentally said that they extracted, but you're right. It was Gotaga down in the south. Gotaga wiped AGARTHA off the face of the earth. And I was really shocked they brought in the Lunas early, because when you start thinking about their different regions, right? And of course, the regions will face off later down the line when they get to duke it out. But it's so unique to me how people value their different operator pools. They're like, I feel comfortable playing this. We can find value from here. But with eco rounds, it's just kind of play what's going to give you a smoke for the airdrops, what's going to be good in those fights, and are not operators that you want to use for those Mandelbrick rounds.
I'm really interested to see who comes up as, you know, the MVP or the winning team from this round here, because it was kind of all over the place. Like, Gotaga got an early wipe and then just went home, and you know, AGARTHA obviously went here. Genius kind of extracted with nothing, and it is Gotaga. There you go, the guys who got the 3 early kills and then checked out early. Vlad, Nox, and Maxa.
To be fair, they did what they needed to do. You wipe one team, you get the assets from that, you loot up down south, and you just play the series focused on the Mandelbricks. And if you're going to take all of those assets and invest in what you want to bring into Brakkesh, 100%. You see Nox there is going to be the one that picks up 2. Vladid there, 1. Number 1, NBO, they grabbed 3 as well. A couple of kills sporadic throughout Dark Entities, AGARTHA, and LFS. But for Genius, who do focus on just hitting the extract, right? They leave with no kills. Just value in terms of what they were able to pick up prior to leaving.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate extract really for Genius, not picking up any kills. Good points on the board there for number 1. You know, 3's going to be very useful for them. They're obviously a bit lower down the table, so that will be handy. And there is number 1 on the killers. Matthias grabbing all 3 for the team. Uzbishka on 2 from D, and Nox grabbing 2 as well. The AWM as well, totally wasted. Such a shame to see not even a kill picked up. And there you go. I said Uzbishka got damage, and top of the damage of round 1.
To be fair, he was under siege. Not only was he getting full send and he holds it down, finds a couple of kills there, but then NBO just absolutely jumps on them in terms of top assisters. You got Flare right there, Cook to round things out with NBO, Nox being super vital in that fight with AGARTHA early on for Zero Dam. In terms of our asset earners, I'm not surprised it's Gotaga all day, because they immediately wipe a team and then just focus on the extract.
Yeah, clean sweep there for Gotaga, and that is going to be MVP for Nox as well. Got 2 of the kills, an assist, and a nice amount of assets gained. Of course, they got the loot off of AGARTHA and then got all their stuff off the map after looting Vizzy there. So yeah, kind of a strange 0 down. I don't think there's a clear advantage to any of our teams really coming out of that as we go into game 2 on Brakkesh coming up soon.
Yeah, before we get there, I've got to hear it, Ben. Look, you've been on the EMEA side of things for the past couple of weeks working alongside Goj. I got thrown over to America as we were getting crazy over there. Before we jump to a quick break here, talk to me really quick about maybe some differences that are coming through from week 4 that have been changed over the course of what we've seen historically.
It was definitely a little slower in that game than we've seen end in 0 down so far. I don't think that's going to be the case for the rest of the games. But yeah, we'll see how our team's going to Brakkesh. I think that's going to liven up with the Mandelbrick in play.
All right, well, let's see what happens after this quick break.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1.
Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that, it's an absolute sweat!
This, and Elizabeth's got to know that they're here, lines them up, even to the shot, you're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks, and Elm's gonna be hopping out for that.
Got the Mandelbrick. Find and stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first Mandelbrick of the tournament. They're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not going to do very much, though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
That's so much damage, and there it is.
Welcome back to week 4 of the Delta Force Rise series over here in the EMEA region, guys. It's day 1 of an action-packed weekend, and after Gotaga there was our MVP team from Zero Dam. Here's your leaderboard before we dive into our first Mandelbrick game.
Yeah, actually more score points than I was probably expecting to see there for Gotaga. Of course, they got out a few mil as well, so they got 6 supply points there and 3 kill points. Going to put them on 9 after game 1. Not too bad, and that is Brakkesh coming up with a Mandelbrick.
Yeah, Mandelbrick and the airdrop, one of my favorite maps of a series. In terms of our operator picks, we did see some Lunas expended. You saw Gotaga invest when AGARTHA go for 1. But in terms of our most popular operators, we do see Alluru, Toxic, and Gizmo. You were hyping up Gizmo earlier, Ben, for a lot of those, kind of just his package in terms of his abilities, right?
Yeah, and you so often see the decode on Brakkesh go into that museum position where it's very tight and confined, and then you just see, the Molotovs going off everywhere, and, Gizmo spiders in those confined areas. Really, really valuable.
100%. I actually, mostly on the America side of things, is where you will witness the Allurus and sometimes even people bringing in those Tempests. But of course, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us here for some Delta Force Rise series. I've got another little giveaway for y'all. Watch your screen for a redeemable code to unlock the SR3M Combat Ready. Make sure to redeem it as soon as it appears because those activations, like I said, they're limited. This one only has 25 redemptions. If you get one, let us know in chat. In the meantime, we're going to kick things off with AGARTHA, who took an early exit on Zero Dam.
Yeah, AGARTHA and Gotaga. Again, the priorities spawned in the center of the map there. That means you're going to be closest to where the Mandelbrick spawns. That's LFS there, down in the tower, along with DE. We're going to have the Mandelbrick pop in about 30 seconds time. MBO, you can see up coming down from the Brakkesh market. And then Genius off near the hotel. MBO brought in a Tempest, the only team to do so, though.
Interesting. I'm okay with that. I also I was kind of highlighting this earlier. Yes, they are technically tier 3 spawns, but NBO and Genius kind of starting up from the upper corners on Brakkesh. I think those have earlier rotations down to Royal Museum. If you're in the new Tower of Babel, sometimes you're just out there anticipating that other teams are going to grab the Mandelbrick and kind of swipe it back and forth from each other. That gives you those times to move in. But of course, AGARTHA, tier 1 spawns, privy to the Mandelbrick, they hop on it immediately.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Tiff. I think the tower spawns are you're just a bit far away from the action. Takes you a little bit of time to get involved, and especially when a team's grabbed the brick so early. AGARTHA grabbing that one fairly uncontested there, grabbing it quick. I guess, before the other teams can get in there, you've only got one team's utility to worry about, right? When the others arrive, then it can you can get a bit of a stalemate here. So let's open up early. 4.5 minutes on the clock, though.
Curious to see how we're going to break this down. This is where I really start looking at your operator compositions and what you have in order to kind of break someone apart or defend. A lot of Allurus, which we were expecting to have happen here on the EMEA side of things. Gotaga does bring in a Luna again, so they will no longer have a Luna unless we go to Game 7 and we kind of unlock the operators yet. So honestly, kind of like it. You get a little bit of practice in on the Zero Dam. You burn it here on Brakkesh. That means you've got a different operator pool lined up for the Space City Gauntlet. Let's check in with AGARTHA.
Et voir en fait, imagine qu'on va à Sarah en fait. Okay. Imagine on va à Sarah à pied et check là où ça peut nous grab.
Ah vas-y frère, il me casse le...
Ok, gênant.
Casse le drone frère.
Pas grave.
Hear me out, Ben.
Loving the AGARTHA position on the bookshelf there is a new one for me. Great little spot, right?
It's cheeky, right? I was gonna say, I love the French teams. I love coming in. It doesn't matter that I studied French for 8+ years of my life. My French is horrific. The only thing I heard is they're checking their right, okay? I heard right.
That sounds about as good as my knowledge, I think, that I remember from my school days. But interesting here, one of the problems with AGARTHA grabbing that early and then going back into that building is I think what we kind of see is the other teams, they're taking up positions here on the decode station. So AGARTHA don't have a clear route to go to. They're going to have to decide to push one of these teams to decide where to go with that brick. They've got no clear option. They do have the Raptor, of course, so they can do some good scouting. That's going to be really useful to them, providing it doesn't get immediately shot down. But yeah, they've only got 2.5 minutes to choose somewhere to go for AGARTHA. I think they might play for the museum. It seems probably like their only option right now.
That's also true. You look at LFS, they've got Asura camp kind of locked down. So if someone does decide to come over here, also big shout to DE, who has just been looting the new Tower of Babel. Their profits are going up. They're finding some reds. Good for them. They're going to need it in terms of those profits. For everyone else, and plus the fact that DE's still down there, the time is now. They know that it's not being decoded just yet, so they are just biding their time. And with 2 minutes left, where is AGARTHA going to go? They do seem to be committed to the museum.
There's certainly no need for any of our teams to panic just yet when it's been picked up so early in the game like that. They don't mind it taking a reset. If it takes a reset, they'll be able to still get it and claim it. So the MBO will want to make sure they can get involved at some point as we see Nox drop in Nas there with the grenade. Great hit from Gotaga there, and AGT, yeah, they're getting a little worried here.
I'm worried. We saw Gotaga wipe AGARTHA in 0 dam, and immediately these are the two teams running into each other. As we pull up the map feed, you can see LFS is starting to take realization that it's not coming over to us or at camp. So we can kind of filter down to where that Mandelbrick initially is. NBO just in that Brakkesh market decode station. And then you have Genus kind of about to wrap up onto NBO in terms of AGARTHA. Guys, the triple blaster trying to outline the stairway and prevent people from coming on up. But this is a fight that is a 3v2 now.
Yeah, I thought they grabbed that res, but had to break it off at the last moment. Gotaga have pushed right in here. They've got the Uluru, they've got the Luna, and they've got the Gizmo. There is a whole bunch of utility they can send in there, but they have decided to fall back. And the Mandelbrick, it's got, Gotaga grabbed it. Gotaga grabbed the brick when they're in there. That was a smash and grab, and it's going straight in the decode.
Yep, dropped down, grabbed it, and now we are all Royal Museum decoding station all day. You talked about all of the resources they have in terms of their operator composition, and this is where you start to see it come through. But them prioritizing the decode, which is the name of the game, guys, is going to allow AGT here on your screen to get the res on up. Now, here's the deal. If Nas does fall and get finned again, he's out of here. We can't bring him back.
Yeah, absolutely. And going to be very tough to push Gotaga off of this. They've got such a strong defensive lineup from their operators there, but often ends up being the third party that catches you out, as we see on our little map feed off to my side. So many teams pushing in on this museum now. Basically, all of them, even DE, have decided to check out from their time in the tower, and they're going to come and slowly join this fight as well.
Ooh, okay. NBO from the north side, descend upon from market. Looking for some angles, checking all the spots. Now, what we've noticed based on how they approach 0 dam is they are okay with chilling and waiting. And with 3 minutes left on the decode, it's all on the hands of Gotaga to set up their defense. Because if you've got every single team on the horizon, minus DE, who, like you mentioned, is leaving the new Tower of Babel and is working their way up north, but it's all about our resources. And you know those composite incendiaries from Uluru are going to be such a nuisance if multiple teams are just yeeting them at you.
Yeah, and some of the other resources our players are interested in, Team Genius, they're grabbing the battle tank model. I think that was from a safe just as they came into the side of the museum there. So that's going to be a couple of mil that they can safe box. You can see their profits have suddenly jumped up to 2.8 million. That can be safe box, but of course then you can't keep any of your ammo or other things in your safe box because it's a 3x3. We also saw, I think it was LFS taking down the boss earlier. That let them get a couple of those statues, the little lucky statues we talked about. And there's MBO, our first Tempest outing of the day.
Good work from MBO as they hop on the decode, keep the tabs, and the ult dragging them back out of the line of sight. Now, 3:30 on the clock for NBO. For the other teams that are looking to intercept, can Gotaga jump back on it? For LFS on the outside, looking at AGARTHA recently back to a team of 3, already disengaging. Got the D-Wolf, got the motorized exoskeleton. We are out.
Here we can see the Chaos and Museum Team Genius. They're moving up in numbers. They're surely going to get this. Let me guess, get some really good util. Right, and they did get interrupted there by the frag. Going to have another go, and that is going to be back in the hands of Genius. That's another 30 seconds off of the decode timer. It gets shorter every time, down to a maximum of 90 seconds. Well, minimum, I should say, of 90 seconds. So do keep that in mind. It's down to 3 minutes. Next time it gets stolen, it's going to be 2.5.
And we still have just under 10 minutes on Brakkesh, which is crazy because this can trade hands throughout the entirety of the map, especially with our teams all being full up. For AGARTHA, the ones that jumped on the Mandelbrick early on before having it stolen by Gotaga, now kind of disengaged. They might be playing for the airdrop that's going to be hitting just on the outskirts of their building. For LFS, though, they're kind of on that south side of the Royal Museum building. Checking for angles.
Now, what we normally see here is teams kind of waiting and waiting to get that third-party opportunity, but someone has to jump in and break that deadlock. And MBO are kind of the ones to be able to do it a little bit because of that Tempest. They want to utilize that and Yeah, really, they'd be the big losers if they didn't get this Mandelbrick. They're the only ones invested in the Tempest, as we see. Not another full run of golds. Oh my god, 2 in a row.
Massive golds that are going to take up such a large position of that 3x3 safe box. So it's like, why couldn't we just get like the small golds, you know, that I can stack multiple in alongside my ammo? But here we go. Will Gotaga be the team to breach onto Genius now that we're at a minute 30 left on the decode? Or will it be LFS? You see the incendiary is going out straight towards Genius, and Chin's kind of trapped here for now. But that's okay. Even the ult's coming in for some info on the outskirts from Gotaga.
Oh my god, I love that try with the Uluru ult there. I don't know how they do it. I cannot steer that thing for love nor money, but he sends out a tiniest hole in the window, spins it around in a U-turn and goes towards the balcony. He does get shot down, as Vladid gets shot down as well by Kilo from Gen. So that is one of Gotaga knocked down. Is behind cover, but there's a lot of util coming in. Probably going to finish him off there. You can see Maxa being eyed up. And this is Nox just sitting in the safe room here. Yeah, trying to get some shots down on AGARTHA. Vladid has been finished. 45 seconds on the Mandelbrick here.
But Genius is down to a duo. You can see one player down, one player fooled as NBO trying to work on down, gets Kilo down, but gets traded out. The chaos erupting around it, and it has been stolen.
Yeah, MBO grabbing that. I didn't quite see if they deployed their Tempest to do that, most likely. And that Tempest so powerful for these situations. You get that free life, basically, right? You can run in there with your bungee cords, try and grab the brick, and then even if you get knocked in, go bouncing back. That's presumably what they've absolutely done as DE, taking some kills there, but as Bishka able to send one back. We got Vladid here. Still down for Gotaga. Maxa left up. Big hits coming in, and that is Cook from number 1, taken down by Styx. So MBO, they are the team with the brick, but they are down to 2 now.
Trying to get broken down as LFS. Being very conservative about how they approach it. And full array on the ground, getting picked up by Uzbishka. Not sure if we're going to be able to retrieve Cook in terms of where they fell, which is right on the outskirts here. But you have to go into the potential line of sight of other players. Pulling up that map feed, you can just see what we're working with here with a minute 20 left on the decode for NBO. Someone is going to jump on that, which means trying to pick Cook up and like retrieve him and defend is likely not going to happen with the time allotted.
No, I don't think that res is gonna happen on Cook. They do still have the Tempest though. Genius, I believe, got wiped by DEs. They made that push. I think that was what we saw from Spishka. Again, the finish on Team Genius. They come under fire from so many different teams in the end. It just wasn't going to work. So 5 teams remaining here. DE are going to try and grab that brick with 50 seconds left. They got AGARTHA putting shots from the side though. It's going to be tough, but Folloray is on it here. Trying to heal a bit first. I think just on the balcony on the edge. But yeah, even running in and has distracted it.
That's what I'm saying. Your D-Wolf has to pop up. I love the way you're able to take the Mandelbrick from that specific angle. And of course, everything breaking out with that timer now being reset to 2 minutes. AGT. We got Gotaga on the other side, and the Luru tries to set a full ult there, and we don't take that much damage, surprisingly. Immediately pop onto the syringe, but it gives you information that Gotaga will likely swing again.
Yeah, Chuba sort of on his own a little bit in there. Does have the rest of the team in the corridor looking through here, but it's a tough little angle. And speaking of angles, some of the angles these players know is just crazy. MBO, by the way, they did get their res, but they have lost one here, and that was their Tempest, hopefully with the cords deployed. That was Enter going down there.
We'll keep tabs on that, as we do know that LFS still at just over a minute. And now that we're under 5 minutes on Brakkesh, this can only change hands so many more times. And it was Genius, who is currently wiped, that the last time ANC duked it out, that grabbed the Mandelbrick on Brakkesh. Not going to happen this time. But we'll see who's going to be able to hold it through, as DE has stolen the decode.
Yeah, D holding that balcony position. They grab it back, and this is traded back and forth a whole bunch of times now. We've been on that minimum timer for a few back and forths of the Mandelbrick here. So we see Maxa. They've lost Nox and Vladid here, and Maxa maybe accepting his fate a little bit. I'm not sure he's going to worry about extracting, but might just be biding his time trying to get kills as Matthias goes down. That's huge from D, huge from Folloray. That puts MBO... Well, still on 2, they still got the Tempest, but I don't think their Tempest ult is going to be ready in time before this brick goes, so they might have to make a push without the Tempest.
Well, let's run it back and see what happened. We did see that pickup onto Nox. Okay, AGT wants to get aggressive, but DE finding a nice knock as well. Back to DE with just over 30 seconds. The implosion's not going to connect. Polaroid thrown out and just holding.
Really interesting seeing the Uluru shield there placed maybe to block the angle for them to take the Mandelbrick through that sneaky bit, I guess. But funny little play there as we look at D. They've still got 3 up, only 15 seconds left. AGARTHA run in, even running in as well. Everyone going for it. No. Absolute chaos on the brick.
Does DE get this? Because everyone walks in. No. LFS swiped the decode. 1:30 back on the clock. And AGT now a duo. But LFS, you've got the decode, but we're in shambles.
They do, yeah. Just one player left, as you say. And it looked like literally the entire floor was on fire there as well. And you know who's looking really strong now? MBO. They're the only team with 3 players up right now, and they've just got the wipe on LFS. Well, no, sorry, they've just finished a couple of LFS. They haven't got the last play yet. As we see MBO get pushed, then that is going to be, yeah, MBO still on 3. They got DE. DE have been wiped.
A wipe on DE and a clutch from NBO, but burn, baby, burn as Matthias is trying to stabilize. Now, keep your eye on that match timer because this is going to be important. We're down to 2 minutes 30 seconds and LFS has 40. LFS is down to literally 1 player. But if someone swipes this and we are that timer less than 1:30, we have a problem. And LFS, it is frozen for their decode. They are wiped. Will the solo from Gotaga go for it? Or will NBO walk into a duo of AGT holding the line?
Yeah, 30 seconds for MBO or for any of our teams to try and grab this, but surely they're going to try and do it. Cook went down near it there. No, yep, they're pushing out. This is going to be the move. Yaku trying to hold that. You can see Enterline there. He is surely going to grab it, and that is MBO. This is going to be the last pass of the brick. They have to defend that with their lives because there's not going to be enough time for it to go back to another team now.
And Yaku's abilities are on cooldown, right? We're not going to have the EMP come through, but I do see the Incendiary available from their Uluru. But here's Gotaga. Maxa can be a real thorn on this because now that NBO was able to grab the decode, the time is there, but you can't afford to have someone jump on the decode and steal it, and then we'll go through this map with no one getting a Mandelbrick.
Yeah, this is MBO's to lose now. AGARTHA, the main threat with 2 operators left, an Uluru and a Raptor. DE, they've got 1. Gotaga, they've got 1 as we see Maxa having a look for them here. And yeah, the worry is just for an MBO is just if they get the unlucky angles with these sneaky solos they're left, or an AGARTHA, they're deploying more util. Matthias is going to get on that brick. They've got to play their lives here, right? It's the only option.
You get on that brick and you hold. It does not matter. We saw the Incendiaries coming through and they had 1 more. You can see the utilities coming in from the left side. We are surrounded. Matthias standing on the brick. You're not allowing anything. The fight's breaking out. And can we stabilize? 15 seconds to go for NBO.
Yeah, they just need to get every player guarding their brick with their lives. But of course, they can't all die. If they go down, the brick is cancelled. There's 1 of them down. Nast gets 1, so that's going to be 2 left up for MBO. 3 seconds on it, but Matthias is right in that brick, and that is going to be a Mandelbrick. First of the day taken for number 1, and that is a huge result for them. Coming today, 11th in the leaderboard. That is going to set them up very nicely.
You at least get 1 point on the overall to have that. If you go out and you hit the win today, that's a 10 point, will be so nice. But of course, Chaos breaking out in the final seconds of Brakkesh. Kills going the way back and forth, trying to get as much value as you can. As we check in with our players, there we go, the man, Matthias, just body checking that Mandelbrick decode and just giving up everything for it. Well done to number 1.
Yeah, great work from the guys there, and that investment of the Tempest, it absolutely paid off for them. If they hadn't gotten the brick, then they would have really been at a disadvantage in these other games. So they decided to gamble with the Tempest. It worked for them, and they've got a brick. And, you know, good first game for them as well, as the standards of the first game went in terms of, you know, how many points anyone got. They had a few kills. Matthias got 3, and they've got a brick now, presumably with a few kills as well. They definitely wiped DE, and there we go, 5 kills as well.
You're like, presumably with a couple of kills, and we pull it up. It's like, no, they grabbed 5. That is such a value-heavy game for number 1. And if you, like you said, are going to bring in the Tempest out here early on, yes, make it pay off. Matthias Cook enter. Brilliant stuff for them out of here on Brakkesh Game 2, which means that Space City Gauntlet that we're going to get later on the line, they'll be in win condition the next time we get a Mandelbrick in Game 4. But in terms of our scoreboard, I got to shout out AGARTHA there. They went out early in 0 damn, but pick up 5 kills once we jump into Brakkesh.
Yeah, great scoring from AGARTHA there as well. Obviously no brick for them, but 5 is a very decent amount of kills to get on the board. None of our teams really getting too much value there. Genius have a bit. I think that's because Chins picked up the battle tank model that we saw, so that was safe box, but everyone else, well, no one extracted from the entire map, did they? So no one leaving with very much at all. Obviously, you do get some money for those kills there, and that's the top kills. Cook from number 1 grabbing 3 all by himself. AGARTHA Tuber grabbing 3 as well, and Stickinson from LFS grabbing 2. Huge numbers all around for our players here in Brakkesh. And I was so worried about the pacing that we were going to see based off what happened in 0 damn. But no, our teams came out. They understood. Sure, it was a little slow at first when we had AGT pop on the Mandelbrick and not actually hit the decode. But in terms of our damage dealers, you do see AGT assisters. Of course, NBO and some of the AGT as well are 2 heavy-hitting rosters that put up the biggest numbers in terms of kills. A great work from Matthias grabbing 3 on that board there on the assist board, and this is our assets. As we talked about, Chins managed to pull that biggest red we saw of the whole round there. And then Follerate and Hannah grabbing a bit. They were looting in the tower on their own for a little while. I don't think they really managed to pull anything too remarkable. That's just going to be what they had in their safe box. And it is Nast from AGARTHA grabbing the MVP. 2 kills, 2 assists, 800 damage, and just a tiny little bit of asset gained.
It's actually wild, right? When you start to think about it, like, hey, if you AGT coming in, grabbing that MVP, but of course, number 1, getting themselves that Mandelbrick. Look, guys, week 4, day 1 over here in the EMEA side of things is just heating up. And Ben, I asked you right after 0 damn, I'm like, look, the pacing's a little different. Brakkesh seemed pretty normal with what we've seen over on the EMEA side of things thus far.
Yeah, 100%, and brilliant work from NBO. Something we've seen a lot throughout the EMEA tournaments has been all these players capable of getting loads of kills, capable of playing the game really well, but not always converting it to Mandelbricks. So NBO low down the leaderboard, converting to the brick. Very happy for that. We're going to be jumping over to Tide Prison coming up shortly after we take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Two members now the odds are in their favor 2v1. Everything getting spammed away and MT getting a little. So hang on a second, NL. Look at that! It's an absolute sweat. This and Illich's got it though. They're here, lines them up even through the shot. You're nuts. The last remaining 3 BOV. They find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's gonna be hopping off to that.
Got the Mandelbrick. Find it. Stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first at the brink of the tournament, and they're going to do it!
What goes around, comes around.
Not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Steiny is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Down, and there it is.
And welcome back to the Delta Force Rise Series EMEA. Our first Mandelbrick round done and dusted, but now we're setting our sights over to Tide Prison. Ben, it's been absolutely electric so far, and I can't wait to see what kind of action we get on Tide Prison, because this has been like kind of the big question mark map of our game series throughout pretty much everything that I've watched.
Yeah, quite an unusual map to see. We'll talk about that in just a second as we have a quick look at the leaderboard from that match there. You can see number one grabbing that Mandelbrick and 12 squad points they're going to get from that one game as well. No, sorry, that's from our overall, isn't it? Yeah, so 7 kill points. They grabbed 5 in that one game. So great result from them. As you say, Tide Prison, kind of unusual one. You want to try and get as much money as you can. I think also trying to get the gun as well, right? You want to get the big gun. And, bringing in Nox. Seems to be what everyone does here. Just everyone play Nox. Double Noxes. So many double Nox teams we've seen over the event. I think the most me and Goat saw last weekend was 8, maybe even 10. I think we saw 8 Noxes in one game, and there you go. Double Nox.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Hacklaw, Nox. I mean, I think we have, one in Zero Dam make a showing, but of course a 36% pick rate for Nox, Hacklaw, and Morse kind of rounding out our most popular operators. But if you haven't already used your Nox, you're likely going to get that double Nox, which is very valuable when you think of all like kind of the passageways on Tide Prison and those tight corridors. You can really make a lot of moves. You pop the ulti, you hit him with a silent assault, you go crazy. In terms of our spawn predictions, AGARTHA and Team Gotaga fresh off those tier 1 spawns, not going to be able to get them here on Tide Prison, which is totally fine, because then you go into Space City with privy to getting those tier 1 spawns. So keep tabs on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really key point is you don't really want the tier 1 spawn on this map, because then you're not going to get one on the next map, which is going to be Space City and is going to have a Mandelbrick. So really, you want to be a tier 2 or a tier 3 spawn in this game is going to be ideal as we load in to game 3 of the day. With a bag on our head, we go into Tide Prison. Our teams are going to have to escape from their cells, grab their gear and go, and they're going to be playing for kills. They're going to be playing to try and get money and maybe acquire an extra large gun with some red rounds in it along the way.
Ooh, okay. And as we get heated up here, some of my favorite fights on Tide Prison happen towards the very end of the match. But if we see a different pacing of like what we witnessed and how Zero Dam went through, I don't even know what to expect for our eco round here on Tide Prison. As we get into it, let's go ahead and look at our operator selections and who's got our privy to those tier 1 spawns, who's not going to be able to get them on Space City.
It looks like, well, Gen definitely gone, and I think LFS, then they've run up from there, haven't they? They decided to not move down into Wardens. They've gone north. So those are the two that aren't going to get tier 1 on Space City. Coming up next, Gen, you can see, pretty much got the whole of the southern part of the map to themselves at the moment, and everyone else up roaming around the north. And you can see a little operator list on the left there. Quite a few Noxes.
Yeah.
We've got no Noxes for LFS, the only Noxless team on the board, and a double for Gotaga and also for Gen there.
Nice coming out through. Do see Gizmo there on DE, some hack claws for Gotaga, and as we shift around, LFS does bring in the Shepherd. Of course, we do have pretty much purple gear, purple ammo. You're not really going to see those golds until we get deeper into Space City, and we'll see where people hedge their bets on bringing in, potentially more Tempests paired with some gold ammo and some gold armor. But for now, a Tide Prison is all about just setting the sights and like your stakes, getting those resources for the next 3 Space Cities.
It is, and also getting as many points as you can, squad points, right? Particularly, obviously NBO want to maximize that, but any team, there's going to be other teams here today that you would expect to pick up a Mandelbrick at some stage, and when they do, you kind of get these two-tier leaderboard, right? You have the leaderboard of the teams that are drawing on a Mandelbrick, and then you have the teams that don't, and then those squad points become very valuable. So this is an opportunity for our teams to show us their fragging skills, to try and get as many kills as they can. And if you can get yourself 4 or 5 kills, that's 4 or 5 score points, and that could make a big difference on the leaderboard. As Yaku here, gonna get revived. Was that a boss knock or a falling knock? It certainly looks like Yaku's embarrassed.
C'est bizarre, t'es silencieux, mon gars.
Écoute, j'ai regardé l'horizon et voilà quoi.
Bah écoute, il.
I think that was a fall. Here we go.
You'll get the replay too.
Oh, Yaku, poor Yaku.
My guy, just like me. No, I'm just kidding. But here's the deal, Yaku. It's all fun and games. This is the time of the map to make that happen, right? You're going to get picked back up. You're going to forget about it. No one saw anything. I'll just grab one of those little mind eraser things from Men in Black, and it's totally fine. Even chat's not looking at you. Chat, look away.
Yeah, something I think we can all relate to that as Delta Force players, and I think they'll be very happy at that point. There's no kill feed, so the other teams weren't aware of Yaku making that little mistake, and they will get away with it. And grabbing the blades over there, 1.4 mil. I mean, it's a big number and it sounds great, but it's also massive, that thing. It can't be safe boxed, so I don't know if they'd even carry it. It's going to take up half the bag, but hey, it's a nice looking thing, and we love to see a red.
See, we love when they're very small reds that retain their value. And we're like, oh, good. We can just kind of get this straight into the safe box. Of course, once we have those airdrops, even the ammo for those, like the M82 or the AWM, it's like so nice to be able to just take out if you do, or at least throw that in the safe box for value. Now, here's the deal, guys. I was looking through prior Tide Prison performances, and in some of those earlier weeks, Gotaga has some high kill Tide Prison maps. I'm like thinking they had, I believe it was like 8 on their group, one of their first or week 2 showings, 6 on group A and D in week 2. Gotaga likes to fry out here when they can.
It doesn't surprise me at all. We saw Nox, second in the kill leaderboard overall with 37. Maxa, 5th overall with 31 going into today. So we see the femtosecond laser, I think that thing's called. So many reds to remember. Yeah, 700k. That one's a little smaller, a little easy. I think it's a 1x3, right? It's a little easier to carry 4 stick than the blade server. But yeah, Gotaga, they pick it up so many kills this tournament. And keep in mind, Nox was second in the kill leaderboard going into today, but the players above had a game in hand. So yeah, they know what to do on Tide.
Definitely, as we reach kind of that 13-minute mark here in our Tide Prison matchup, and you start thinking about where that initial airdrop's going to hit, and at about 2:50, we'll feel pretty solid with that. However, no real chaos happening on our map in terms of fighting just yet. If I'm NBO and I just grabbed a Mandelbrick and Brakkesh, I want to just preserve my consistency here for this Tide Prison and then really lay it out on the line when we get to Space City. Now, historically on groups A versus C, guys, we went the distance. Like, we were back in week 1, day 3. We had a game 7 and no team got 2 bricks.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It's been so close in so many of these, and it's also been interesting the way it's been so different on some weekends and some match days. Sometimes people are contesting every single brick, and then sometimes someone picks a brick and everyone just lets them take it, and you're wondering why everyone's not trying to do anything, and you end up with all these different teams getting 1 brick each. So who knows what route we're going to go down today. I think we're going to go down a little bit of a slow-paced, sneaky route on Tide as we normally see. This is AGARTHA sneaking around. Stay away from that zip line there. That can be dangerous, boys.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be, Yaku. But for now. Ooh, hey, Nast. This is where I want to be able to like hear their comms and be like, what are we discussing here? What's our game plan? What are we planning on doing as Everyone's kind of still up. You see like Gotaga, AGARTHA, LFS, DE up on that side of things. Of course, they look close together on the map, but we know for a fact there is so much space in between these teams that I'm just curious to see who's going to kind of run into each other first, as Genius have left kind of the boss area and have wrapped their way back up towards NBO.
Yeah, there's so many levels to Tide Prison. That's kind of what makes both Morse and Nox so powerful in this. There's so many flanking opportunities for Nox, and then when you pop that Morse ult, you can scan so many different players and teams across different levels and see exactly where they are. It can be a little hard to tell by the audio comms, although I'm sure these players can do it a lot better than I can. As we see DE almost engaging with LFS here. Stick's taking some damage, but no angles opening up really just yet. No Nox on board.
Okay, NBO, let him cook. Nice little 330k item there, but also still pretty big in terms of reds. As we just filter through. Oh, see, these are the cheeky passageways and why I love Tide Prison.
Yeah, sneaky little air vents here, and now we're looking down into the bathroom. This is, you see Gotaga there, Nox in the background, a distant Matthias from NBO. So we get a lovely little panning shot of everyone holding their angles and waiting for those kills. We've got 10 minutes on the board here. Airdrop coming down in just over a minute. We do normally see things come to a head pretty late on. Very similar to Zero Dam or normal Zero Dam. Not quite such a normal Zero Dam we had today, right? But normally a late one for Tide.
So here's the deal. That airdrop's hitting just on the southwest watchtower area, just on the horizon of the water. Don't know if anyone is going to hit a crazy rotation for it, but if you do, you should be relatively uncontested.
Yeah, that was DE there. They're certainly the closest ones to it at the moment. It's often a airdrop you see get contested by multiple teams, really. I mean, often there's not a huge amount else going on in the middle of these games as teams are just biding their time, waiting for those opportunities to kill. So why not go airdrop? But yeah, from what I can see over on the map feed, it's just DE in that region at the moment. And here we see them swimming in, rather. I think it's just going to be DE versus the Shark. And I don't think the Shark is going to win this time as FLOORPOV swims out towards where the airdrop is going to land in just a few seconds.
Between you and me, I named one of the Sharks Frank last week on the America side of things. I mean, it just seemed really fitting. It's kind of dapper for a Shark. Makes him less threatening.
No sign of Frank the Shark getting involved just yet as FLOORPOV jumps in. And this is going to be the airdrop with the golds. And I'll be lucky if he gets a red out of that, given today's airdrop standards. So looking like golds all the way once again. They're not going to be doing them much good.
At least they're small. At least they fit in the safe box. But I mean, in terms of DE, we're still at 1 mil in profits for them. NBO kind of scouting throughout these corridors as we have to think about what DE is going to do and if we're going to retract back on up. Some teams likely moved into the positionings that you were holding, so you could find issues along the way. For NBO alone on the eastern side of Tide Prison, with 8 minutes left, I want to see some people start putting some positions in play to get active.
Yeah, 8 minutes on the match time as we hear the boss fights kicking off. The bosses shooting each other, or the AI shooting each other. That's not players fighting, we can hear there. We've got 3 minutes till the southern extract becomes available. That's the one down in the water near where they picked up that airdrop just a minute ago. This is Even. Keep an eye out here. Talking of those, the different sized reds we were talking about earlier on, right? That Blade server, worth a lot, but absolutely huge. We were talking earlier outside of the broadcast about last week, there was a 4 million keycard board. That was Mandelbrick Addiction. They had a 10 million extract on Zero Dam. If you can find yourself a keycard, that's a great one to find, right? The tiny little reds, but they're worth so much.
But like realistically, the odds of finding that week after week is very slim to none. Like over in America's last weekend, we did not find anything of that caliber. But that's okay, because people were focused strictly on battling for those bricks. And no brick here on Tide Prison. It's all about getting your profits up. And Genius on 2.4 mil, but the rest of the teams, relatively similar. It's only Gotaga trailing behind just a smidge, but that's okay, because you think about how their Zero Dam was, and they really made the most of it.
Yeah, AGARTHA picking up a few decent kills already, so they have got points on the board. It's really kind of AGARTHA and MBO, our teams that have picked up a nice amount of kills. The other teams, they really need to start catching up a little bit as we see LFS coming under a bit of trouble here. Imperator has taken it pretty large amount of damage there as they all swim away. They've got Gotaga looking down from above, and this is Nox lying in wait for Genius. They're just on the other side of the vent here.
And they're kind of in a 2-1 split as well. You can see Bloody is kind of out on a different area, but for Nox holding. And I love that he drops down, re-peeks it from a different angle. So even if someone does want to bullet check him right off the initial, they're not going to be shooting in the same spot. For Kilo, though, just a little bit scouting along the way. And for LFS, a bit of a swim over here.
Yeah, this is LFS kind of over near one of the potential extract points. Obviously, you don't know where the extract's going to be if someone does end up pulling the levers nearer the center of the map. But they are in that area at the moment, maybe gambling that might be an extract. Certainly what we can see, I mean, even on the mini-map, we can see 3 different teams in this small area there. And then we can see Imperator running around off in the middle of the map, in the middle of the screen. So all of our teams, or a lot of our teams, getting very, very close together now as we build to what will no doubt be a very fast and furious climax to this map.
Well, DE did not send back up north either. They dived back down to the West Watchtower area. Like you said, 20 seconds so left on that reservoir area, Southern Extract. Will they decide to go for that? Potentially. Little distant map for them. But Gotaga, a team that is pretty up and down in terms of getting their kills here on Tide Prison. I would love to see a couple team wipes go their way, but it's all about just kind of not really. People are being conservative in week 4. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out that way.
Yeah, but there could be a little trap about to be unleashed on LFS here. They're moving down. Are they going to use some util? And they are. And this is very, 100%. Very well placed from even. Look at that. To read that. And the trap has been busted.
Yeah, you 100% connect. And if you are DE, you're like, oh no.
Wow.
Oh, I've been found out. And I'm just going to hide behind my rock here. But this signals Stickinson to kind of put that groundwork in on the Shepherd, just getting closer, wanting to really search on out. We got Polaroid just towards the right. But even with that, you want to be conservative because you don't know if there's a trap for you from DE. Oh, this peak. Okay.
Yeah, so bold of Stick to move out there. They knew there was a player there. They knew there was a trap there, but just gone down with limited intel. They only had the Morse, of course. So, sorry, not even the Morse. No recon at all. Yeah, Toxic, Gizmo. Yeah, so they couldn't really get anything else. And we see Imperator and even taken down. That's a double at LFS. Wow, just like that. 1, 2, 3. Wipes out. 3 kills on the board for DE.
And the timing is so crazy because AGT also descending from the north kind of sandwich them out and immediately take the benefit. For DE, yes, you lose out on Polaroid and you're down to 2 for now and want to regain if you can. But we also have NBO and Gotaga headbutting each other up into the north. For now, still plenty of chaos. AGT stabilizing with 2. Chuba still down and Nast. 1 HP throwing it down, trying to heal.
Yeah, AGT dropped, but that is DE gone as another team comes to party. I can't believe we're seeing the prison fight going off here. That's AGARTHA wipes, and it's 1 by 1. Our teams are falling outside near the extract here. Normally it's right in the middle of the map, but it's great to see it all kicking off down near the extract. Genius have grabbed that. It's only number 1 and Genius left on the map. We can see number 1. They're right up in the middle here, nowhere near this fight. And Team Genius, they can grab a load of loot here and, well, I don't think they're really going to get off the map. No, too late really for them to get off the map. They're way away from Bagless, but kills on the board and they can safe box a few things.
And this is where if you're Dark Entities and you were holding down the West Watchtower area waiting to see who was going to approach, you thought you were going to get maybe an isolated fight looking for that extract. No, you get full scent. And then AGARTHA comes down. And then Genius comes down. And the only team that survives is Genius. But they only grab 2 kills from that engagement. A ton of profits to be had. And then even so, you check in to see what's left. Hey, say hi to Frank there on the left. And he's not going to get involved here. But that's totally fine. NBO, I believe, took down Gotaga. So should have some kills from their engagements up north.
Yeah, good spot. I missed that one. So That would be some nice points for MBO. And I think probably the winners down in the south is going to be DE and AGARTHA. I think they picked up most of those kills. Obviously, Gen came along and mopped up at the end and got a couple. LFS, I'm not sure they managed to pick up any. They did have a knock on DE. I'm not sure they got the confirm on that or not. But we'll be interested to see. This is MBO. They're completely on their own, but Gen have actually moved up pretty close here. They're going to scout out with the Raptor, and presumably someone's going to try and get up to bagless. It's the only option for someone to get off the map, or they're just going to fight for points here because MBO want every point they get. They've got 3 kills at the moment.
Yeah, if I'm going down, you're coming down with me, and every kill's worth 800k. With NBO having 3 and Gen having 3 as well, you might as well see how many squad points you can get from your kills, because it's going to come down to the wire. NBO fresh off a Mandelbrick, still wanting to keep that action going. About 25 HP on the opposing side of things. And for Matthias, not sure if that player is going to give it to him. Kilo wants to join up and provide some resistance there with the team, and instead, it's NBO with Enter last alive.
Yeah, you got to give it a go. Haven't used less than a minute left on the match timer. Why not try and grab a kill? As the last remaining player from MBO, Enter, is going to take the bagless extract. They have a couple of mil there in profits. Presumably most of that is going to be on MBO. That's going to be the only player to leave the map. Gen managed to grab themselves 4 kills there to a Genius, so not too shabby. They got 5 mil in profits, but that's not going to be coming with them because they're not going to be leaving the map. They will be able to safe box a little bit there.
Maybe they had some big items.
There we go. They're going.
See how much they get to walk away with. I hope that you have just been playing all the rearranging that you need for your safe boxes as we look through it. Maximizing. Got a couple dog tags in there. Nice. And there you have it. Tide Prison. Chaotic at the very last moment. And honestly, the highlight of the game, the West Watchtower area fight.
100%. It took a while to get going, as Tide often does. It's always a little bit slow and steady, but yeah, that's the first time I've maybe seen occasionally a couple of kills pop up there, but to see 3/4 of the lobby wiped near the Watchtower was, very, very new one for me, and hopefully everyone enjoyed seeing that.
I mean, I did, but all I know is if I'm DE, I am mad. Like, you immediately get kind of the util check, and then you see them start to put into position of how they're going to approach DE. But as you see, our best team, AGARTHA, 5 KP, some nice assets gained for Yaku, Chuba, and Nast. And to be fair, it was an interesting start for AGT, some fun vibes. We didn't necessarily do vibe checks here today, but we definitely had one with Yaku.
Yeah, they turned up at the right time, didn't they? Interrupted, sort of, DE just finished, we're just in the process of killing LFS, and then AGARTHA turned up and picked up kills on DE. I think they might have caught one of LFS as well, and then everybody else turned up as well. 5 kills for AGARTHA, 4 for Genius, 3 for number 1. That's, decent amount of points, really, for that, especially relative to other teams. Of course, they're at the top with the Mandelbrick as well. 2 for DE, and none there for Gotaga and LFS. Surprisingly for Gotaga, they're normally out here slaying, but we do have Mandelbrick rounds coming up, which are the key ones. AGARTHA, Yaku, grabbing the top kills, and then Chins, and then it was Bishka, Gen, and DE.
Some solid kills around as they look to see who were the top damage dealers. And if you've got Uzbishka there in the top kills, well, of course, they're going to be the top damage leader. And I would imagine that we have breached 10K. We'll check in with that later, but I would assume we are incredibly close, if not already done it for our top assisters. You've got AGT Nast, Matthias over there for NBO, and Cook as well for number 1. Some solid performances all around as we have kind of that calm before the storm type of game. When we move into Space City, assets are going to be your key. And with Enter taking the extract up in the north, I'd imagine that's why you're your top asset earner.
Yep, our only player off of the map and the MVP for that game as well. Also grabbed 2 kills and an assist there, so well deserved from Enter. Yeah, really well played. They're going to get the extra accolade of the MVP. That's going to set up MBO nicely. We got Space City coming on next. All the rest of the games today have Mandelbrick, so the tempo is going to go up when we go into the next game. MBO, they're on match point. Everyone else looking to catch up now.
Now, I'm curious if we're going to start seeing like a change of hands, if we're going to have 3 different teams step up on Space City, giving us that coveted Game 7. Only time will tell y'all, but we're going to cut to a quick break. And when we come back, that Space City Gauntlet.
2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little solo. Hang on a second, NL. Look at that. It's an absolute sweat.
This. And Illich gotta know that they're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're a nut. For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Helm's gonna be hopping off that.
Welcome back to Pro Tips, the ultimate tactical masterclass series where we break down the most jaw-dropping plays in competitive Delta Force. Today we're heading back to week 1 of the EMEA group stages to break down one of the most electric, high-octane 1v3 clutches we've seen so far. Joining me on the couch to dissect this unbelievable display of mechanical dominance is the Clutch King himself, Team Gotaga's star fragger, Maxa. Welcome.
Hello everyone.
In that final 2v1 duel through the smoke to stop the brick decode, casual viewers might not realize quite what was happening there. In those last moments with 3 seconds left on the brick, Scooby trying to steal, you were forced to hip fire because of the Raptor EMP grenade. How much confidence did you have in that situation whilst not even being able to aim down sights and knowing you're outnumbered?
During the game, you constantly keeping track a little detail, like your opponent armor condition. I knew his helmet was gone and his vest was broken because my teammate said to me. So I didn't need to overcomplicate the fight in that situation. So aiming down sights through the smoke on the Mandel. What can I say? I just hip fire because he EMP me with his stuff. So I just react faster and I just shoot for the two last guy. I trust my tracking and I commit to spray. So sometimes the best decision isn't the flashiest one, it's just the most efficient.
Maxa, your IGL Vladid mentioned that the core mentality behind Team Gotaga's success is that you're all close friends first and teammates second. You guys have had huge success so far in the tournament. When your heart's pumping and you're in those intense Mandelbrick fights, how do you think this level of trust between you and your teammates has helped you get an edge over the enemy teams?
I think that's one of our biggest strengths because we are friends outside of the game. There's already a lot of trust between us. So during stressful moments, nobody is shooting or blaming each other. Even if I'm 1v3 left, I know my teammate, they trust me and I trust the information they give to me. That's helped me to stay calm, focus on what's happening instead of thinking about the pressure and the consequence. At that point, it's just about making the right plays with the information I have.
An absolute tactical masterpiece and a masterclass in ice-cold composure under the heaviest pressure. Thank you for walking us through that legendary clutch, Maxa, and best of luck in the rest of the season.
Got the Mandelbrick. Find it. Stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first Mandelbrick of the tournament, and they're going to do it!
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not gonna do very much. Look, you get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Oh, much damage, and there it is.
And welcome back to the Delta Force Rise series as we check in with some of our teams fresh off a tied prison. This is where things are starting to heat up. We're about to move on to 3 back-to-back Space City Mandelbrick rounds, Ben, and I couldn't be more excited, but I feel like we need to lay it down, see, because NBO, who we just saw, is on win condition for game number 4, but for Genius, LFS, all of our teams looking to get some bricks and to be able to take a dub on the day, you gotta start now.
Yeah, a huge opportunity for our teams to get themselves up near the top of their leaderboard now. NBO are going to be the only ones there. Doesn't matter how many squad points they have, they will be top because of that Mandelbrick, but they are in fact also joint on squad points. That's a big deal for them because we've sometimes seen in these events a team have a Mandelbrick and be sitting up there at the top, but by the end of the day 4 teams have a Mandelbrick and suddenly they're sitting in 4th place because they don't have enough squad points. So they're joint with AGARTHA at the moment in terms of squad points. They can just keep chipping away, keep that total respectable. They're going to be guaranteed probably a top 2 place as long as they can just keep that squad point going in the right direction. So great work from NBO so far. They definitely need the points today.
100% LFS and AGARTHA also in those kind of must-win situations. AGARTHA is in 8th place, tied on that overall group stage leaderboard, but the teams that are looking to break out of the bottom 2, like number 1, Living for Success, those are the teams that are likely going to jump over FLOORPOV or AGARTHA if you don't lock it in. So seeing AGARTHA at the top with those squad points is quite nice as we move into, like I said, the back-to-back Mandelbrick rounds. And in terms of our operator picks, guys, we did see one Tempest get invested from number 1 back on Brakkesh, net themselves a Mandelbrick, but we still have 2 Tempests available for everyone else. In terms of our Luna picks or our Lurus, things like that we see people kind of bring out for information and defending those decodes. Ben, what do you think we're going to get here as we get on to Space City?
Yeah, some interesting choices there. Stinger, of course, very popular on this map for the smoke, for the heals, primarily really the smoke, especially if you get that Westgate prio spawn. Can be pretty sketchy running in. Tempest, of course, popular one as well. I'd be surprised if we see NBO bring in a Tempest here. I think they'll probably choose to rest to try and get back on par with the other teams. If they use the Tempest now, they'll have potentially 2 more games with no Tempest, unless they just maybe going to just throw themselves in and hope they can close out here. You can see the prio spawn, so it's going to be Gotaga, DE, NBO, and AGARTHA getting the toss-up for those tier 1s.
Very interesting if you're LFS or Genius. We also see teams not usually wanting to heavily invest on their favorite operator pools, such as like bringing in a Tempest if you're not guaranteed a tier 1 spawn. I would imagine with a team already having used a Tempest on Brakkesh, you have to throw in and see what you can do. Guys in chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm back with another giveaway, okay? This time we got a redeemable code for 1,000 tickets and it's gonna appear on your screen. Redeem it as quick as you can before all of the activations are claimed. This one only has 15 redemptions. So if you don't get it, you've just got to be quicker than that next time. Good thing you still have 2 more days left in our group stages this weekend for the EMEA side of things, or just be a little bit of a degenerate and stay up for Americas later on today and look for some code redeems there.
So much Delta Force you can watch right now with NA coming up after this. But first is going to be EMEA Game 4, the first Space City game of the day, the second opportunity for our teams to grab on Mandelbrick as we go into round 4. Dropping in with Jen. They're in the dorm area, and we're going to see AGARTHA down at Westgate. That's one of the prio spawns, and it's NBO I can see on the other side of the map with the other priority spawn. Let's see how well AGT get in here, because this at Westgate could be pretty sketchy.
It truly is, especially with how quick Gen is just full sending. They bring in the D-Wolf, they're throwing the triple blaster, they also have a Tempest, and I'm looking throughout NBO, you called it, Ben, do not bring in a Tempest. They throw down with a Shepherd, Stinger, Luna combo, which I equally like for them, kind of just on that northeastern side of where that Mandelbrick will spawn in about 15 seconds. And I love that we do see AGARTHA get out of Westgate alive.
They do, and that means we now have AGARTHA, D, and NBO already very close in the brick, with LFS coming up from the south as well. So 4 teams closing in on it. We only actually have 3 teams with a Tempest in the lobby. NBO, as you mentioned, not bringing one in. Also LFS and DE not bringing in a Tempest. LFS and DE still have both Tempests to use, so they can go into games 5 and 6 potentially, and they'll use a Tempest in both of those and hope for that sort of later advantage once other teams have used theirs up. This is even from LFS. The brick is in now. Everyone just sitting nearby. I'm going to see who's going to make the play for it as we see our lineups and armor choices there.
Gotaga and AGARTHA investing heavily in this round. Solid goals aside from the Yaku bringing in purple ammo. You do see NBO investing in the gold ammo. Same with LFS, DE, and Gen. So DE invested heavily in this. And the fact that, you know, we'd want to see some throwdown, especially when they don't bring in Tempest, hedging their bets for another couple rounds on Space City.
Yeah, something I thought was quite interesting, seeing the Lunars used up. I think Gotaga had used all their Lunars before this game, so they were Lunarless, and they've decided to prio Raven. So you can see they've come in with a Raven and the Tempest and the Toxic there. They decided that's going to work better for them on this map. It's only useful when you're outside. The Raptor, Luna, obviously good for those shock darts, and the grenades can give you some great util as well. As we see Cook here, keep an eye across onto the bridge. That's on, yeah, Gotaga over there on the suspension bridge. Just trying to find an angle.
I'm just going to lay down. Luddy, it's fine. Just play dead for a second. Don't let him get you. Don't let him get you. The thing is, he has no idea. And we're just sitting here, and I feel like this, like, all-seeing eye.
Yeah,
Trigger discipline on Cook is crazy. I would have already, like, tried to take out an elbow.
It's so, I mean, it's both, it's easy to forget how much, you know, extra information you get used to when you see these views. We can see all the players on the map, we can see the map, but also, you know, don't underestimate the map knowledge these players have about angles. You know, they know where the vulnerable angles are and where players are likely to be. So, you know, maybe a tactical lie down there to avoid the angles. We see GOT there. Just going to move back into assembly here. Have a look around printing rooms and such. That's Maxa. Maybe trying to find a bit of loot. No one's made a play for the brick yet. Everyone's biding time. Tempest ults will be ready. So if one of these teams decide to use that, have we got a Tempest nearby? I think Jenna may be in the area on the bridge now. Yeah, most of our team's in the area in the center now.
All right, here we go. DE getting on the Mandelbrick, picking up early. Now the question is, where do we go for our decode? Typically, we do see a lot of the same decoding stations, and it's always kind of that hallway that's very akin to where the Mandelbrick spawns. Occasionally, we'll have someone running out to dormitory, but you do run into the issue of potentially getting caught out on that rotation. And you see with Jen already moving up on the Central Command Bridge, you will have focused out on, you know, if they do go up that way. However, same, but different. The setup begins as the decode is placed.
Yeah, it's gone to buoyancy. We see this one used a lot. It's quite, you know, it's so close to the Mandelbrick grab, right? You can just grab it and get very quickly onto that decode station without making any crazy rotations. We have seen a few crazy rotations after the last few matches. We saw NBA taking one round to dormitory last weekend. We've occasionally seen, you know, down in the bag this extract used, but for game one on Space today, it is going to be the classic buoyancy. And this is kind of a weird one because you get so many third parties coming in. As teams try and push it, then they get shot in the back, and it can be kind of chaotic.
Well, here we go for now. Just kind of taking care of some things here with a little knifey knife. Now, in terms of how we're going to see this decode swiped from DE, because it's going to trade hands just a bit, because Jen, now fresh off that Central Command Bridge, have descended upon the Buoyancy Lab and how they want to lay siege to it. I'm looking at the teams that have Tempest and managing your ult cooldown to be able to kind of run in there, because you know, for the people that are laying traps and holding these angles and not letting anyone get through there, they have the most value of just yeeting in there and getting out.
Yeah, the Tempest definitely a huge advantage for grabbing the bricks because he's Tuba grabbing a quantum storage there. And this is Gotaga pushing across employee passage there. Has been spotted out by Cook. He's going to keep an eye on that. Maybe he's going to try and stay hidden, see if they'll actually come up the ramp here. But this is what we so often see on Space. When one team is decoding, all of the other teams end up fighting each other and the decode team gets to kind of sit there. But this is the decode team. This is Kilo. They got a Tempest ult gone and pushing up the stairs towards Jen here.
You're burning your ult here early on and just on the underside of things, but Gotaga, Maxa, running up the ramp. You can see Vladid already on the vehicle just on the backside, but NBO Cook has to hold this angle, and the moment someone breaches up where they're visible, Cook is gonna light them up.
Yep, the stinger here employed by Cook. Going to keep an eye out, look for those headshots, but good armor brought in by Gotaga as well. So that is going to be able to tank a little bit of that damage. I think they're going to try and maybe rotate around another way here. Have a little look at the bridge. As we see that deco time, it's already down to 90 seconds on DE. So someone's going to push again. We still got, 3 potential Tempests. Gen used their Tempest a minute ago, but we still got Gotaga and AGARTHA. Gotaga a bit busy, but AGARTHA's surely going to make a play soon.
You kind of have to, right? Once it gets to 1 minute, this is where everyone kind of really starts to full send it, which can cause a lot of chaos, which could lend suit for DE if people are getting lit up before they could even get to the decode station. FLOORPOV doing some nice defense here. But as you can see, people are switching their approach to the decode. And we're under a minute now. Who is going to be the one to jump on it?
The thing is, the teams, unless they've picked up Nox somewhere, then they don't really know who's decoding this right now. It doesn't alert them as to what team it is. So for all they know, it could be match point about to go. Which always seems crazy to me when you don't see the teams commit. And I feel like even at 30 seconds here, I feel like this won't change, because when you leave it so late to push, they've still got all their utils. You have to kind of wait for all that utils to go and then make the move.
Well, position's exposed. Data Knife's coming in, and FLOORPOV has to pull, but he's stunned up and wants to connect. Vishka finds a knock. Everything's breaking through. Nox grabs one. Now, at the hands, did someone grab the decode? Mind you, 2.5 seconds is needed to take it, and 5 seconds are on the clock. Does this go the way of DE? Ain't no way they get it like this.
Wow, free brick for DE there. I mean, they got pushed a little bit at the end, but everyone, as we so often see, left it way too late to contest that. So DE on the board now. They're on 10 squad points at the moment. So they are 8 points behind MBO, which is a nice comfortable gap for number 1. They'll be pleased with that. But they are picking up some kills. They actually just got one at the moment. There's been a lot of knocks popping off. That's Chin's Kilo taken down by FLOORPOV, and it's Vishka grabbing to work here, but it's just Hannah left now for Gen. DE still got all 3 up, so great work from them.
Well, for now, Gen pop the res, Kilo back up thanks to the Tempest self-res here, and NBO holding some angles. Now, if you invested in solid golds, you kind of do want to make sure that we preserve our value going back into the next Space City, but we'll have to see what you can do. LFS there looking for the hardcore reset if we can get back up to a team of 3, but with Matthias here holding those angles, not going to let Stickinson do too much.
Nasty place to get caught there, and that's a kill streak for FLOORPOV on 2-3. So that's 3 points for D here. That's who's been grabbing all the kills. Imperator taken down by MBO there, and MBO, they just got the wipe on. Yeah, Stick and Imperator. Last 2 left, I think, for MBO, for LFS. So points on the board for MBO. They're up to 21. That's super valuable for them.
Oh, they were definitely making the most out of their Luna pick to throw a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And pick up those kills. Back to Gotaga. Talked about their investment, bringing in the solid golds, bringing in the Tempest. Now you've got to find your value in terms of those kills. Nox. The drone up in the sky and getting the info. And Vladid on the entry frag. Dives into the entry. Hip firing through.
I'm
starting to get really nervous.
Here, isn't it? They're fighting in this little medical keycard room down in there. You can jump out the window in the end one, but the front 2, those windows can't be broken. So on MBO, they've just bumped into D, and D have sent them all home, and that is huge for D. That is huge points against the team above them in the leaderboard there.
Yeah, that was a utter annihilation, if I say so myself. Chuba out here. Little self-heal stinger action, trying to make a move. And DE. Not only do they get the Mandelbrick, you wipe your opposition that was in win condition. So you're denying them any more potential squad points. And you are on the move to get yourself a ton of them. With Gotaga and Dark Entities being your only team of 3, AGARTHA down to a duo. See what happens as we're just kind of in neighboring buildings now.
Just 3 teams remaining now. 3 up for DE. They are on 6 kills. 4 for FLOORPOV. 2 for Fleric, and I'm sure Azbishka has plenty of damage despite the 0 kills. Targets are with 3 up. Yeah, only 3-point difference now between number 1 and DE. DE, we know they can perform well. They came off the back of a 2nd place in their last match. They've had a win, a 10-point win earlier on in the tournament. So, they've been in that top spot before, and they're pushing for it now after, well, farming some kills in game 4 here.
All about farming. All about it. Now, for Flarich, here on the outside, holding those angles, checking in with the duo of AGT. I love how it was just like all action nonstop. DE grabs an easy brick, and now we're into like the last 6 minutes of our match, and it's like, okay, yes, what's gonna happen as DE Uzbishka gets some sight lines onto Gotaga.
D also grabbing that brick with no Tempest as well. They haven't used the Tempest yet today, so they're going to go into game 5 with 2 Tempests still to use and a brick already on the board. So great work from them. MBO have used 1 Tempest in that first game. They didn't throw one away for this game, so they will have 1 to bring. They'll have to choose whether they want to bring that into game 5 or game 6. But yeah, AGARTHA and Gotaga here both committing a Tempest and not really yelling a lot from it, but they do have a chance to get some kills and get a few squad points on the board here.
Okay. In a moment to breathe for our teams on the move. Curious to see what the plan of action is. Does AGT decide to go over to Horizontal Test Workshop, grab that extract, send one out? Relatively bagless, but hey. Or for now, you just kind of watch and see what the other 2 teams are going to do.
I don't know if DE might attempt to get someone off the map here. They do have all that gold they brought in with them, but you know, they're going to have plenty of money from all those kills. 800k for every kill, of course. So they're going to be pretty, pretty happy to get some more of them. You're also limited. You know, it's not just how much money you have. Depends on, you know, what equipment you can bring in. You are also just limited on how much gold you can get, how much gold ammo, gold armor. So something to consider as we see the supply drop loot here, but nothing too exciting coming up from that.
And just constantly keeping angles, checking for literally any sign of life over here. Meanwhile, Nox is like, I'll just take to the sky. I'm just gonna get a lay of the land and see what's going on. Now, technically, these 2 teams are more on the south side of Space City here, with DE still up on the north. There's Frank. Long journey from Tide Prison, but don't worry, he made it.
AGARTHA here kind of set themselves up in the bridge area. Gives them the option if they decide to drop someone back and go for the bagless extract. That's the only extract that could really be used at this point. DE, they're roaming around along with Gotaga. They're all just looking to get as many kills as they can, and that squad points leaderboard is very close now. You can see 20 for MBO, 17 for DE, 18 for AGARTHA. I mean, 13 for Gotaga is not too far behind. Bear in mind that will fluctuate. This is sort of adding on, the supply value our teams currently have on them. So, expect that to maybe drop down a bit when our teams, leave the map through, not through an extraction point. But if they get more kills, they can send that number the other ways. You see AGARTHA moving towards the extract there.
Ooh, diving into the replay, see what went on with DE and Genius on the other side. Was that ultimate hunt, and we knew NBO was absolutely staring, trying to get done with that. Oh, DE, the wipe towards NBO, denying NBO any more points this round. It's going to be incredibly close when we jump into match number 5.
Yeah, couldn't have been on a better team really for DE, could it, getting NBO out of there, just as NBO would look like they were starting to pick up a few kills in this round. So still that progress a little bit, keeping it close. Max are grabbing a nice little watch there on the way out, as they are going to be leaving the round. Getting pretty good amount of value out there with the big rig they had and the 3x3 safe box, of course, which all our players have. So Tuba has gone, leaving just Nasty with the Tempest, hanging out a bagless, but every other team will know that's been utilized now. So they're committed to just hanging out for the next 2 minutes. Are they just going to wait it out? Are they going to try and get themselves involved here? They're on even points, but there's no point hanging around, right? You might as well go and get some kills.
Managing what we've got in our safe box. I see prioritizing those dog tags. Got a little bit of ammo. No worries there as we keep on. Just trying to find whatever works for us. Now, AGARTHA still kind of holding down with Nast on the map, having sent one out through the bagless extract back to the north. DE and Gotaga relatively close. There's a look at Nast as he, on the Tempest, might be able to third-party engagement. You're not quite sure how many people are left on the map, but your job with a minute 30 left is just, hey, if you can find a kill, get yourself not only that KP, but the 800k that goes alongside it.
Like the nice little inset shot of the boss just hanging out in his office there. No one's gone to let him out. So, yeah, nice insight into what he gets up to before we players go and open the door, and he starts immediately headshotting us before we have a chance to kill him. This is DE hit. They're going to take the fight. Getting the ult out.
Okay. Less than a minute left. Let it all break out with Vladid here. Let's jump through the doorway. Feeds through some utility. Makes him back. But FLOORPOV just ascends up the stairs and wants to bring the fight to them. Here's Nast, though.
Yeah, manages to get one very low. Nice angle there. Nast getting the knock on Nox. In the end, that's well played, but needs to get that confirmation if Nast wants to get the point, and is going to go for that with the Tempest ult. Moving in. Oh, yeah, did get the confirm. So that's a point on the board. That's great work from the last remaining player from AGARTHA. As 20 seconds left, jumping down the stairs, and it is FLOORPOV gets it. Another kill. Vladid taken down.
My man literally hit him from the top ropes to pounce on him. DE still up to a full team of 3. What more can Gotaga and the solo from AGT do? In FLOORPOV does go ahead and get the kill onto AGARTHA. The last 1 minute 30 seconds of our first Space City of the day did not disappoint, but at the end it was Dark Entities, 0 contest on the brick. Beautifully done.
Yeah, that was all about DE that round. I mean, they got maybe a little bit lucky with how teams approached them on the brick, but then they took full advantage after that, going and getting so many kills. You know, if they just walked away from the game with the brick and left the game how it was, they would have been 7 or 8 points behind number 1. But now they're going to be almost up behind them, or maybe even level.
And that makes me so excited to see what that leaderboard looks like before we jump into our next 2 rounds of Space City. And with someone else kind of giving us one more game. Like, my favorite part of the fact that, like, if you double brick, right, you get those back to back, it ends. But if other teams are standing up and challenging on the Mandelbrick, we just go the distance in our series, and it can get so exciting. But our best team, of course, none other than Dark Entities, a Mandelbrick 8 KP. Dude, did they get the top of the leaderboard after this? Because that's massive numbers.
Yeah, huge amount of kills there. I think they picked one up right at the end as well. So great work. I think FLOORPOV got a whole bunch of those. We'll see in just a minute. Wow, 6 for FLOORPOV, 8 total kills. And then MBO getting 3. They needed them to try and keep that even. So that does balance out that discrepancy a little bit. 2 for Gotaga, 1 for AGARTHA. And nothing for Genius or Living for Success. LFS, they need to get some points today. They're sitting right down at the bottom of the table. They do have another game to play after today, so it's not looking too good for them at the moment. Yeah, there we go. 6 for FLOORPOV, and then just 2 for Fleric and 2 for Matthias from MBO there.
Yeah, just running it all out. There's your 8 from DE as we look towards our top damage dealers. You got FLOORPOV, Uzbishka, Nast up in there. I mean, look, if you're going to be running Tempest and you just go run around in those last engagements, that's where you're going to find a lot of the damage. But when you think about the top assist, Fleric there, FLOORPOV, Uzbishka. Okay, Dark Entities, we see you.
1,200 damage in one game by one player there is absolutely massive. Tuba here. With the top asset earners from AGARTHA. Tuba was the only one to leave the map, so that's probably not a huge surprise to anyone, but only just beat some of the other players who stayed on the map. And there we go. FLOORPOV, 6 kill points and 1,200 damage in one game is just massive. Great work from DE.
Incredibly well done. Like, that is just a performance that needs to be just done, especially here in week number 4. We are just a few days away from the survival stage and making sure that you're locking yourself into it. If you guys want to follow at home, make sure you follow us at Delta Force literally everywhere. And of course, we did have that update on the Play Delta Force website with the Esports tab. Just go ahead and click under that. Click on the Delta Rise series for all the information on how to stay up to date, whether that's the EMEA side of things or America's, of course. But guys, we are going to jump into a quick break before we dive back into more Space City.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1.
got the Mandelbrick. Find it. Stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first Mandelbrick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around comes around.
Not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
So much damage, and there it is.
Two teams now in win condition here for the Delta Force Rise series on EMEA as we just wrapped our first game in Space City. It was Dark Entities all day in that match number 4 with a nice 8-kill and a Mandelbrick to boot. Gotaga there, Nox finding some value, but hasn't really found themselves a brick just yet. But as we peruse through the vibe check here with our players, Ben, we got some stakes to be we've got to talk about what's at hand as we move into our next two Space Cities.
Yeah, finals weekend coming up next weekend. These teams playing today. They're Group A and Group C. They've got one more game each over the course of the weekend. They're going to be playing again. And then the teams they're playing, that's going to be their final matches. So plenty of opportunity for these players today to get more points. And there you go. You can see the leaderboard so far. Number one, they're still sitting at the top there with 20 squad points in DE. Now, because they have a Mandelbrick, they're going to tie that. But they are only 2 behind thanks to that huge game they just had.
I was so curious if they were going to be able to get to the top of the leaderboard. To see them just 2 points behind number one, it is incredibly close. Teams like AGARTHA with 18 squad points, if they net themselves a brick here in our game number 5, it's going to be down to the wire. As you see, number 1 got their brick on Brakkesh in round 2. Round 4 goes the way of Dark Entities. But in terms of what's at stake for the teams that didn't bring out a Tempest in that initial Space City, will we see them go ahead and throw it down in round 5? Dark Entities, LFS, teams that have not used a Tempest as of yet.
Yeah, still 2 Tempests available for DE, and I think LFS there had a couple to use as well, and I think we'll definitely see those ones committed. The other teams have a choice now between this game or next game, if we even get to another game after this one. When you get to, or if you get to round 7, of course, operator choice is reset. So you don't have to worry about the last round. If it went that far, you can use whoever you like. And that's going to be our spawns. As we see the priority spawns, LFS, Genius, Gotaga, and Dark Entities, they're going to be the potential tier 1 spawns for this one.
Ooh, very interesting. Okay. Look, we saw Dark Entities go ahead and hop the Mandelbrick, get an easy decoder over at Buoyancy. I say easy, but that's just because it looks easy after how much work they put in to defend it over there. And if you're privy to even getting a tier 1 spawn in this is just the script writers doing some work over here on the EMEA side of things for Dark Entities. For LFS, who is still at the bottom of the group standings leaderboard, this is your time to turn it around. You could still go back to back in rounds 5 and 6 and hit double bricks, win the day, grab double-digit points, and just get into that survival stage. But it has to begin here. It has to begin now. Do not leave it to your last match day to make a run for survival stage.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to leave that open on the table for someone else to grab, because we've got 2 teams now on match point going into game 5 on Space City. Those tier 2 spawns, by the way, they're not too bad on this map, so I don't think MBO will be too unhappy if they manage to grab one of those. We can see some of the operator selections and gear selections down the bottom. MBO, they are fully committing. Full gold everything. Tempest on the table. A lot of purple for everyone else there, though.
You'd like to see that. I mean, look, a lot of people heavily invested in our prior Space City round. So seeing them kind of retract it back here, gearing up for a potential round 6. But for now, Match point unlocked for Dark Entities and number 1. Let's see who comes out on top. LFS. You see they get that Westgate spawn with Dark Entities already full sending towards the edge of Dormitory. Imperator, less than half health.
I'll just wait for that mag to be dumped before I start talking. Well, that is... Yeah, okay, I think they got in there in the end. Is he still? Yeah, Imperator did get in. I mean, we've seen a few times over the weeks where teams have been dropped going in. I think when they have the Stinger and they can put the Stinger smoke diagonally across like that, it does help them a lot. That normally seems to be the most secure way of getting in, but they get put very low there. And then, again, we often see an LMG being emptied like that. But they're in the middle now, and there is our brick.
Would you just look at it? Would you just look at it? Because I see Jen smoking, I see Jen picking up the Mandelbrick, and now we decide, where do they want to go? Historically, in our last round on Space City, we saw them kind of go up towards that central command bridge, wait to see if DE was going to rotate up towards the outskirts of the central command building and maybe decode there. We personally know that AGT could be up there should they go that route. However, we're getting potentially a little bit of the same, but how? Jen, still 4 minutes, 30 seconds to decide, where do we want to go?
Yeah, they've moved down to Black Chamber here, actually. They sent Kilo out in front. Kilo and Hannah came and had a look and checked out that it was clear, and then Chins has moved in, and we've gone for the Black Chamber decode. So we've switched to the other side, moved to the east of the core here. This one is another really interesting one. See, we do see it used a lot. Tends to get traded out quite a lot. We have that bulletproof glass going on one side. And that is, yeah, Team Genius with a brick on the decode station now. A little bit of a quiet day from Genius. I mean, they got good points on the board, but no Mandelbrick yet. They've had 2 wins so far in the tournament. As we see them get involved early here with Team Gotaga moving in on them.
Gotaga's going to have to be aggressive if they want to grab a brick on the board. You can see already 1 player down thanks to Maxa picking up Kilo. Now, not sure if they want to completely jump on this yet. Maxa does have Ultibail if we do want to run. For now, Kilo back up on their feet. If you knock the Tempest, that's usually a great way to siege it, right? However, Genius does stabilize.
Yeah, they did revive there in the end, and Gotaga are a little bit limited on their push. They're going to grab the decode. Jen, they're holding the upstairs here, so they're not really in a position to actually stop them coming in and grabbing that brick. They'll let them just get traded back. They're actually sitting in the keycard room at the moment, but quite bold from Gotaga to run in there, considering I can see on my map feed that Nox is actually a little separated, still up on the bridge. They only had 2 in the building as we watch AGARTHA here. This is Nast being very sneaky over on the ramp. That's on there. Yeah, on this side as well, on the east, just outside.
Now it's all about game planning. 3 minutes on the decode. In these earlier trades, you get substantially more time as you break down the map. You mentioned Nox kind of extended out, with Gotaga only having 2 inside the Black Chamber decoding area. LFS still on the outskirts, right? They could likely look for someone that's rotating down and maybe pick a couple off, but they'll eventually make their presence known, probably a little bit closer towards that decode time.
Looks like Jen taking up position just in the side entrance here to the Black Chamber. Gotaga still with the decode here. They've got 2.5 minutes on the clock, taking a bit of a closer position on it. They do still have 1 operator separated out. Nox up on the bridge. This is AGARTHA. They're just near the drop down. You can go in through this way, of course, to the Black Chamber as well. And DE, one of our Mandelbrick holders, they are on the main bridge to the north here.
Interesting for them. Now, about halfway through the decode here for Gotaga. You still don't even have Nox alongside you. So some interesting plans here. Genius haven't kind of dived back down. And knowing how we saw Dark Entities Mandelbrick play out, and you have 2 teams in win condition, very interesting to let this one even tick. The 1 minute 30 has to be like the warning signal of people wanting to get in there. And NBO, they're crawling in.
Yeah, once you get under that sort of minute, it starts to get really tough. Although this one, you can see switch. I mean, you very often see teams get wiped in this one. And, you know, the Mandelbrick wall, of course, paused if the team trying to decode, gets wiped. So we've actually seen Nox has been knocked off to the side. He's going to grab that. It's going to go to MBO. That's going to be match point MBO. With the Tempest as they bounce back, it's actually only AGARTHA in this round that doesn't have a Tempest right now. But Gotaga, they just grab it straight back because there's no one there after Tempest said bye-bye.
Yeah, and the fact that you're going to have to extend out of the Black Chamber area to go get Nox if you'd like to, which would be very interesting. But speaking of Nox, Yaku, Silent Assault in play here, and we jump straight onto Gotaga, the duo. The initial Vladid go down with the full there. Just need to find one more member left. Gotaga, Maxa, last alive, and things not looking so hot for Gotaga right now.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see a replay of that. I can see it popped up as Stick there. Stickinson from LFS as AGT. AGARTHA grabbed the decode. Yeah, it was Stickinson who got the knock on Nox there. Nox was holding the top of the zip over on the bridge. You can just got a glimpse of the little med icon there. Must have got sniped by Stick because they're a little way away, and then that put Gotaga down to 2. That might be what we see. It is. It's going to be Stick. Look at that, the one tap. And that really put him on the back foot. See Yaku with the disc into there, getting rid of Vladid. And Vladid looking not very happy at all.
Okay. Gotaga's still down to a solo. We got Maxa over there, maybe looking to hit a reset and pick Vladid back up. But for now, we'll just have to wait. 1 minute, 11 seconds left on the decode for AGT. And dare I say I'm slightly nervous. No, Maxa's not going to get the reset. He's in the other room. Just kidding. You can just lay next to your friend.
Yeah, going to be tough to get around there. Might be able to find an opportunity, but for the time being, just hiding behind the suitcase. This is just above here. They're actually above on the other side, so they're coming across and down. MBO were previously in that staircase, so they might come down behind MBO a little bit here. I mean, 40 seconds on the decode for AGARTHA. Oh, they're in the office here, actually. I mean, MBO needs to try and grab this. I mean, AGARTHA's one of the worst, well, apart from D, I suppose. AGARTHA's not a great situation for MBO because AGARTHA are above or very close to MBO in squad points. So, you know, if they see AGARTHA get a Mandelbrick, MBO could find themselves in 3rd place. But Gen, they have grabbed it.
Nice little utilization of the Tempest to kind of get in there and retract out thanks to the ropes now for LFS as Gen is decoding. We saw them still playing from the outside area. And sure, you grabbed the knock out onto Nox, but in terms of getting yourself the decode, that is the value. And Gotaga swipes it back. AGT says, nah, I'll take it. Thank you. We're going to be trading back and forth all the time.
Well, it just goes to show it only takes one. Max are the only one left from Gotaga, but thinks, hey, why not? No one's actually sitting in this corridor, as you kind of often see. You get a team in the office above, a team holding in the main Black Chamber, a team holding, you know, as Gen are in the little side entrance here. You've got LFS outside, but no one's actually sitting on the bricks. If you get a clear route, you can kind of run in and just grab it. And that's what Max did, but sent straight back to AGARTHA. And we got a minute, but 9.5 minutes still on the match. So there's plenty of time for this to go back and forth.
Ooh, LFS. Looking for angles as NBO with the Tempest. Don't recover the decode.
Yeah, that was close. They did manage to grab that knock. Well played by AGARTHA. This is going to be Maxa jumping on it again. Does get finished off. So Gotaga gone. Oh, well, that was the Tempest. So they get another go, but surely Gen, the other team's going to come in and have a go now. Got 30 seconds left.
Oh, and the fight's breaking out. AGT, 26 seconds left on the decode and under fire. Gonna see if they can hold on as LFS has moved in. NBO also picking apart Genius on the other side, left to a solo. Here we go. They move on in, throw the Tempest. The drill charge stuns up a bit, but 10 seconds on the decode. We only need 2.5.
Yeah, LFS grab it. That's big for them, but they're gonna have to try and defend that as well. Of course, LFS really far down on the leaderboard right now. This would be huge for them if they could grab a brick and get themselves up there. We saw MBO also picking up a kill there. I think that was, Gen taken down to 2. Gotaga have got 1 left. It's a Tempest. Gen have got 1 left. It's a Tempest. Everyone else still in the game right now.
But hear me out. NBO, Dark Entities, are teams that are on win condition. Match point unlocked for them. Still teams of 3 alongside AGT and LFS. LFS with the current decode sitting at 50 seconds as Dark Entities descends upon the stairs, gets closer to where the Mandelbrick is.
Stolen back by AGARTHA again. They've had this decode going so many times in this round. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this trade some more. You've just got so many players left in the lobby. There's so much opportunity for it to go back and forth. DE there. They're now in that side entrance. MBO still holding the office room just above. This is Matthias. They got one kill on the board at the moment. 1 minute on the decode for AGARTHA. I can see Flarik going downstairs there. Maybe MBO. No, they're still just holding this grenade. Or maybe they're dropping down, but Matthias just watching the door from DE there.
Nice little pacing. Be like, I will throw this frag. Don't think I won't. Good look at the Mandelbrick as AGT now in that 45-second margin. NBO up top. LFS, you see the Tempest ult coming through as they immediately send. Throws me till towards the doorway, and you got even there, Perone, and usurping the decode back to the hands of LFS. Big fight here from NBO.
Nicely done from LFS again. They're grabbing it back off AGARTHA. Enter has been knocked as well for MBO, but is that their Tempest? Yeah, that is their Tempest. So that's going to be recovered. You got to stay on top of your brain when you're trying to keep tabs on when players have been knocked and they've got the bungee ropes and the bonus life that Tempest gets. So all our teams, as we were talking about a minute ago, have a full contingent, apart from Gotaga on one. Obviously, Gen have been wiped. So 50 seconds, it's LFS at the moment. But who's going to be next to make a move? We hear the ropes drop.
And you see him running this time. Dark Entities. Uzbishka, the aggressive man, looking for some angles here. Drops on down behind AGT, and Chuba goes, this is my time to shine. I'm going to go ahead and siege it right back. 1 minute 30 on the clock. Just under 6 minutes to go here on Space City. And this is not going to be the last time we change hands.
I'd love to know what the record is for Mandelbrick trades, because this has been absolutely crazy. It's gone backwards and forwards. I'm sure AGARTHA must have had this at least 5 times so far. I would love to see the stats on that at some point. But, I mean, unless these players can get some kills here and get some players out of this, then we could end up with no one getting this brick. It's been going backwards and forwards for so long, and it's a short decode timer, but there's so many Tempests around and so many players that can keep grabbing it.
This is gonna get really scary. The fact that NBO and Dark Entities still in it. And LFS, you can see him there in the middle of the hallway and even gets caught out, but the trades come in as Nast. You mentioned kills. The teams are definitely looking to make that happen.
Yeah, that might be what we needed to happen. LFS grab it and then lose one. So they're going to be down to 1 here. Just their Luna left at the moment. We also saw one from AGARTHA drop during that as well. This might be the opportunity our other teams take. Uzbishka dropped there from AGT, but Fnatic takes one back. And AGT down to 1. D with 2 up at the moment. One of those, I think, is Uzbishka is Tempest. I'm not sure they actually had their ropes down at the moment, though. And Maxa somehow still alive.
Oh my gosh, and it's NBO. Your team of 3. Dark Entities back up to a team of 3. You can see their squad points trading hands with their total score, and it's Maxa being the thorn in the side for anyone looking to grab the decode, but NBO does achieve it.
I mean, look at this now. We've got NBO have lost one, but that's their Tempest. They're reviving upstairs.
Back up.
The 2 3-person teams here are both teams already with a brick. It's only Gotaga and LFS. They just have 1 left each. So we could easily see this end on game 5 today. Match point. And look at where their scores are at the moment. They are equal, 24 points each for NBO and DE.
The stories are writing themselves here in week number 4, but Maxa is doing everything that he can for Team Gotaga to drag this one out. Another game with 3:30 on the clock. Just kidding. Gotaga finally found out, eliminated, sent out of here, but it's the Tempest, bro. So you could totally come back. What is happening? No, he's gone. Done.
Yeah,
LFS
so
to join them. We are potentially ending here. Sure, decoding is interrupted, but it's just Dark Entities. It's just NBO. The team's in win condition.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be maybe which solo was going to be the thorn in the side to whom that's going to decide this, but it's a 1v1 between these two teams. DE versus number one. 3 minutes on the clock. DE have the decode at the moment. No one taken out. Gotaga, they did actually have their... Oh no, I think that was a little... Yep, no, Gotaga just coming back from the dead briefly there. Is DE versus MBO. 27 on the board for DE at the moment. They've got a whole bunch of kills there. MBO just picked up 2. 1 minute on the clock, and the match time is getting pretty low here. This can only trade a bit, so... one of these teams, they need to wipe the other, and they probably aware of who they're fighting now by the kills, I'd imagine.
You know, you're right to outline the time. One more time, can this change, or no one is getting it? Oh dear. In Dark Entities, look, we've seen it. We saw it happen in Brakkesh, where they just camped the Mandelbrick and body checked it, but it's still too early to do that, because freezing it out now be dangerous. Position exposed, disengages, and look at NBO as they move forward. They swipe the decode. 30 seconds, mind you. 1 minute 30 is the decode time that is needed. What is Dark Entities going to do?
Yeah, they grabbed that, but that's a huge knock on Fleric, and that is not on a Tempest. DE down to 1 at the moment, which is only their Tempest. It's 1 minute 10 on the clock, though. Are DE going to interrupt this? Where is the last member of DE? No, they're not on the brick. So Uspishka, last remaining for DE now, not on the brick, and MBO have got all 3 up, and they've got 50 seconds, or 55 seconds. They just have to defend this brick from Uspishka, and they will win today, and that would be massive for them.
They're in 11th place, the bottom 2 on our group standings. A 10-point day in week 4 is phenomenal out of them. But 40 seconds on the clock to make it happen, and Uzbishka goes for the push. Uzbishka gets found out, and number one get it.
That's it, I think, boys.
That's my
view.
I'm gonna run
That's
back,
my
honestly.
fucking game. Go, go, go.
Back.
That is absolutely huge from those guys. They're going to go for backpack, but they don't need it because they're going to get 2 bricks in just 10 seconds time, and that's going to be, like Tiff said, a 10-point win on the day for MBO. You get a bonus point for every Mandelbrick you get. MBO are going to get 2 of those. It doesn't matter what their score points are here because they're going to be the only team with 2 Mandelbricks today. And like you said, they came in today on 11 points. They're now going to walk away with 10 points from today.
Brilliant performance out of them. Their first match day win here in the Delta Force Rise series. And oh, for that to come in week 4, what I like to see. That's what I like to see.
A wave from Cook there. Cooking with the beard as well, I must say, from another bearded man. But great result for MBO. They had a 7-point second on their first match in the Rise, and then they went on to score only 1 point each in the next 3 games. They had a bit of a lull, so amazing to see them come back so strong in there. That's going to throw them way up out of that bottom 2. They only needed 2 points to get out of safety, or 2 points from safety today, so they have gone well above and beyond that. And remember, they still have a match to play as well. They've still got another game to play this weekend.
I think this is the perfect time to start heating up, right? First match day win, then you say it, they get to play again. So having this momentum here in week number 4, just ahead of the survival stage and finals for next weekend, the best time to come alive in the Delta Force Rise series is now for Dark Entities, who are also in win condition as we kind of get some vibes from them. Still a solid performance from them, but it's the best team of the day, and of course it's going to be number 1. 5 KP in that game, plus a decode.
Great to see them picking up the kills as well. The squad points, not only are they going to have the 2 Mandelbricks, they're going to be sitting top 4 squad points, I'm sure, as well, just to show off with that. DE doing everything they could as well. 6 kills for DE, but it wasn't enough. But they will secure a 2nd spot, so that is still good points. It's going to be an extra bonus point for the Mandelbrick as well. They're the only other team to get a Mandelbrick today, so decent result for DE. And with the other game to play, you know, DE came today on 4th position, 4 points off the top 2, so it's still a solid day at the office for DE.
Ooh, as we look around here, perusing through our top damage dealers of that game, Yaku, Chuba, and Fleric. Nice job on that. boasting their numbers on up in terms of the overall leaderboards when we break that down as well. Our top 5 assisters, Dark Entities Folare, tied alongside Matthias and Chuba with 2.
Yeah, great work from the guys. We see our asset earners from that round. No one really getting out with too much there, as N2 we actually saw exiting the map earlier on Space in his top 4 assets again, and then Matthias from the winning team, MBO, down there. And there is Cook taking MVP for round 5 for the winning round today. 2 kill points, 1 assist, 457 damage, and a little bit of assets. And just a great bit of work on a absolutely chaotic Mandelbrick. I'd love to see how many times that changed hands.
Oh my god, at least 9, at least 10. I don't know. I stopped counting when we saw 5 or 6, and then you just have Maxa with Gotaga just running out of the room. Solo shenanigans, just keeping that time moving. Honestly, if you remove Gotaga there from the equation, I wonder how many times that actually changes, or if we would have seen it decoded earlier on there, Ben.
Yeah, it was flying around like crazy, but I think before we talk about them more, we're going to have a little chat with Matthias from Number One. Is going to join us for a bit of a post-game debrief. Matthias, great to speak to you again. How are you feeling, dude? What a great result for you today.
Yeah, I feel amazing, and I think we showed what we can do. And yeah, it's feel great. I can't even put it to words right now.
Well, congratulations. First match day win there for you guys over at NBO, and coming in week number 4. Talk me through some of the changes that you guys on the team made coming into week 4 to have a performance like this.
Well, we had like kind of a slow start here in Rise Series, and we just like wanted to focus on playing smart, not rushing into things, and like keeping on calm in fights and stuff. So I think that's what we showed here today.
Yeah, you guys have had, great chemistry throughout. We've seen you fragging and getting kills throughout, and I'm so happy to see you, get that top spot. You had I think it was a 2nd place on your first match today. So, brilliant result there. Is there something you think that gives you guys such good chemistry that helped you succeed today?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think chemistry is the most important thing in a team, and if you don't have that, I don't think you can succeed.
I agree with that. Now, thinking back to that last round on Space City, you mentioned that you guys were focusing on taking those smart fights. With the decode changing hands so many times, what were you guys prioritizing in that? Obviously, you want to get the decode, but you guys kind of showed up there, I would say, a little bit closer towards the end of the decode, and some of the teams were whittled down by them. But what were the comms like in that moment?
Well, yeah, that was like one of the craziest games I think I've seen here in Race Series, like in terms of the resets on the brick. So we just we saw them coming in, and we just kept our cool. We had also had some teams coming from top, from C office, so we let them go down. And then we saw, like, when we had our Tempest ult, we see some teams that had the brick, and we saw what teams were still in the play. So we just kind of decided on that, like how we are going to approach this.
Well, Matthias, thank you so much for joining us, dude. You go celebrate with your team. Have a nice rest day tomorrow, and you're going to join us back on Sunday for your final game. We'll see you then, dude.
Thank you.
Well, Ben, as we look through some of these highlights, I just loved kind of hearing how they focus on smart fights. It paid off. It really worked well for them. And knowing that they're going to join us back on Sunday with things going right, we just need a little bit more of the same, as we just spoke to Matthias, and he's also our match day MVP.
Yeah, look at that. What bit of work from Matthias there. It's great to see them performing well, getting himself the MVP title as well. So well deserved today. They're great players, and great to see them getting those points today. I'm very interested to see where that puts them on the table today. That's going to completely change how the bottom of it looks. LFS, they're still going to be sitting down there pretty low, unfortunately for them. As we mentioned, DE going to be pretty happy with a few points there. And then everyone else, I'm not really quite sure. Maybe, I guess, a few points for AGARTHA. They had some pretty good squad points, right? But obviously, no Mandelbrick, so not going to be a great change of position for them. But yeah, certainly MBO and DE, they're going to be shuffling around that leaderboard just a little bit.
Yeah, look, exactly when you need to do it. Work on like cementing yourself into that survival stage, because it's going to be so fun to witness what happens next week. But of course, we just have to finish out our group stage here. And for our match day 10 top players of the day, you can see a lot of Dark Entities presence here, but NBO also showing up, especially with Enter. Top asset earner, we know he did get to extract in one of the earlier rounds, but a 7 KD, look, would take it all day.
Yeah, I think certainly helped by Enter, probably been one of the only players to extract over the last few games we saw as well. This is our leaderboard from today's game. You can see MBO finishing on 28 score points. Doesn't matter what the score points are because they got 2 Mandelbricks. So they would be top there anyway. Same for DE, guaranteed second place despite the score points, but it is actually kind of nicely in order here. Pretty close there. AGARTHA getting 21. They do get the 3rd place, and Gotaga in 4th, Genius in 5th. And last for LFS, unfortunately, no Mandelbrick bonus points, of course, for those teams in the white backgrounds there.
And that definitely hurts for LFS, who came into today's match day in 12th place, needing pretty much a double brick performance to like try to get into that survival stage. But y'all, thanks so much for joining us here on the day. We do have one more final giveaway, okay? This is your chance to win 3,000 Delta ticket, okay? So if you guys are watching on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, simply type !giveaway. If you're watching on X, go ahead and just repost the live stream. We'll announce the winners in chat on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. But if you're watching on X, we'll announce the winner in the comments under the live stream. So good luck. We wish you the best. Sometimes getting these giveaways are just a matter of consistency and showing up and knowing when we are going to trigger them. And of course, if you like what you see, make sure you go follow us on Delta Force Esports absolutely everywhere. Go check us out on playdeltaforce.com. You can click the Esports tab. It'll have everything about all the teams that are playing, not only for EMEA and the Americas, of course, but you can see the scheduling as we wind down our group stage. Ben, what are some of your takeaways for the day? It was a wild day to kick things off for this weekend.
Yeah, it's something I've been waiting for, to see one of those teams who are right down the bottom end of the table have a huge day and bring them up, because I feel like they've all had potential for that, particularly MBO, particularly number 1. So yeah, that's been really nice to see. Great story of redemption for them. You can see their first win of one of the days so far in the tournament. Just 2 matches left as well. Groups A and D playing tomorrow, and then Groups B and C playing on the final day on match 12. So just 2 days left for the groups, and the next week's going to be finals.
I'm curious if WLG will be able to complete the hat trick. They had 2 wins on their most recent show out. So when we see them tomorrow, will they be able to jump up? We talked about Nox from Gotaga getting back up to the top of our player ranking in terms of kills, and does it just by 1. So love to see that from Nox, Fnatic, and NBA Skydie there as well, rounding out the top 3. But it's Dark Entities, Uzbishka, Full Array, down there just breaching into the 30s on the come up, seeing if they can make a late run for the top 3.
Yeah, good work by Nox, just creeping up there. Not a huge amount of kills by his standards and Gotaga standards for them today, but does take that top spot back with 41. All our teams on even matches played as well, by the way, now. And no surprises to anyone who's been watching along these EMEA broadcasts that Uzbishka, now everyone's level on matches played, is nearly 2,000 points clear at the top of the damage leaderboard. Was top damage leader again today. That man just knows how to find damage for his team. Maxa from Gotaga sitting in 2nd place, now just ahead of James from Fnatic there. But you can see Stick, Siloa also over 10k damage now. Stickinson, you can see, they've got great fraggers. They've got Stickinson, 10k damage. They've got Even there in 12th place, 8.5k damage. So they know how to shoot, but they just need to get a Mandelbrick over the line. And they've only got 1 opportunity left to do it, to get some good points. They're going to be playing a little bit later in the weekend.
Pretty close run as you look at our top asset gainers here with Skydie, Maxa, and DJ right there from Fnatic on the top 3. One thing that I'm going to go ahead and shout out is these players are consistently making their presence in the top 3 on a ton of our player rankings.
Yeah, 100%. You see these names pop up a lot. These big names, Skyty, Maxa, James, Kilo, Nasty. These players have been delivering both in kills and in resources. Of course, you get resources for killing as well, which does help a lot. And there you see our changed leaderboard. And look at MBO. They've jumped from 11th to 7th place there. And DE, they've crept into the top 2 now.
Yeah, it's incredibly close on that mid pack. Now, when you see kind of those bottom two players knowing, or teams that you know you have one more time to show up, show out on this final weekend, it's incredibly close. Teams on the line, Fnatic, 1 point, keeping them outside of the bottom two, facing potential relegation if things don't go their way this weekend. The Dark Entities, you're right, breach into the top two with 31 total match points. Will NBA answer back and try to break into the top two and get that auto qual to finals?
Yeah, definitely an opportunity for them to do that. And they are going to be playing tomorrow, Group D. We're going to see Mandelbrick Addiction come in. Remember, every team here has played the same amount of matches now, so this is pretty even. And what, just 4 points between those top three? A little bit of gap there down to Alliance there. FLOORPOV from Group D. They now been pushed into the bottom two from that huge result today for MBO. And MBO got themselves, what, 8 points clear of relegation now. And that puts them pretty safe. But you also, if you can avoid that 9th and 10th as well. 9th and 10th, they still go into the finals weekend next weekend, but you actually only get to play on one of the survival days. So you have less opportunity to qualify for the finals. So ideally, you want to be top 8, you know, worst case 9th or 10th. 11 or 12th, they're going straight home.
Well, for NBO, who were in the bottom two, now jumping up into 7th, albeit just by 3 points inside that top 8, you're feeling pretty dang good about your day. You heard it. We were talking with Matthias. He's like, dude, that last game was one of the craziest games on Space City with how much it changed hands. So netting that double brick for them today on match day is crazy. Can't wait to see them run it back. Hopefully the momentum carries them forward, guys. But speaking of their next match day, you will see them later on this weekend on match 12. But for now, we got groups A and D going to be playing tomorrow. And I am so freaking excited to see what group D is going to do. Mandelbrick Addiction, Fnatic, FLOORPOV. FLOORPOV is one of the teams that dropped into the bottom two. And with their last day in play tomorrow, you have got to show up and show out.
Yeah, that is going to be a huge day for them. I feel like I'd rather be in Group B and C, right? Then you know what you're playing for on that final day. For teams A and D, or groups A and D playing tomorrow, they're going to have to play their final game of the groups and then just sit there and watch on the final day and wait and see what other teams do, which must be so painful.
It's like you want everyone to do good, right? But you're also preying on downfall so you can make it into the survival stage and net yourself a ticket to the finals, hopefully, so you can compete for a substantial amount of cash here in the Delta Force Rise series on the EMEA side. Well, chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And once again, congratulations to number one for netting themselves their first match day win. Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure casting for the first time alongside you. I want to hit you with one final thought from today's matches before we get out of here.
Yeah, likewise, Tiff. It's been fantastic. Really enjoyed the broadcast today. I hope everyone has at home. Go away, talk about today's result, big result. Get yourselves ready to come back in tomorrow. But don't forget, if you want to hang around a little bit later today, NA, they're going to be playing their Friday game as well. So stay tuned to watch some NA broadcasts later on.
So much action happening here for week 4 of our group series, but that is done and dusted for the EMEA side of things. We'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same place.
Two members now the odds are in their favor 2v1.